Third day of February 2026. Good morning. It is February. Good morning. My name is Victor Lo. Karibu sana to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya on your favorite channel, KBC Channel 1. How are you doing? A very cold night. Vivian said short nights but very long days.
Yeah.
There's a reason to that, right? Very short night. Unajiekelea hivi kidogo kidogo unasikia alarm iko on.
Imagine.
You feel cheated.
Kufumba na kufumbua.
Yeah.
At 7 p.m. there's still much light outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's that's geography. Tropic of Capricorn.
Yes. It's geography.
So here we are now. Make sure you sleep early so that you don't sleep. If you can sleep at 7 so that you can have longer nights, compensate for that, the better. But I don't know how you're going to do it. Okay, karibu sana. Now, the show is on. A lot is in store between now and 10 a.m. So be with us. We'll serve you the best and the hottest on the breakfast show. So now this is it. Vivian, don't tell me sikuambia. Marie, hatukuambia, si ndio Mike? CBK wamesema no.
Imagine.
Yes.
No money bouquets.
It's the new rule.
Mike.
Just ahead of Valentine's Day. Just ahead of Valentine's Day.
The pressure was increasing.
Yeah.
Mike.
Thank you, CBK.
Mike.
Yes.
You've been saved. You know, they cite that,
Really?
or rather, you know, CBK has cited that, you know, those money bouquets are making the money in circulation not suitable. Because, you know, normally when they're making those bouquets, they fold it, they glue it.
Yes.
They need to make it form some sort of, you know, make it look like a flower. So, yeah, CBK has decided no.
It's... okay, before you even get to the legal bit of it, hey,
It's a relief.
Marie, you safari.
Oh, come on. You were not even about to send the money bouquet. Don't pretend like you were about to do it.
Okay. So the legal bit of it, for those who do not know what we're talking about, the Central Bank of Kenya has now banned the use of the banknotes as a money bouquet. People would go overboard, you know, 200,000, 500,000.
Yeah.
You are right, Vivian. You can imagine 500,000 glued together. That's a very big dent in the economy for people who've done economics and all that.
Yeah.
500,000 shillings not usable at all.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So CBK wishes to remind the public that Section 367 of the Penal Code, Cap 63 laws of Kenya says, and it prohibits the defacement, mutilation or impairment of currency notes, full stop.
So for those who have never gotten to receive a money bouquet, safari imeishia hapo. You are never going to get it. You're never going to get
But
that
you don't
money
have to give it as a bouquet. You can still just deliver it.
Yeah, and then just wire the money.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I can just send you the
that
bank
can be
account.
done.
Yeah.
But the pressure of making money bouquets, Bana, you know, some of people out here are wondering.
But it was a nice work of art.
And you also know it has employed several people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a very creative way of making a money bouquet.
And that business was about to boom on the 14th, but now, unfortunately.
We need to promote flower farmers.
Yes.
Okay. The handshake season is here, ladies and gentlemen. So it is reported that there is a looming handshake between the former president and the former deputy president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua. It is reported on the local daily, that is the Standard, the one-term plan. Of course, he said that the man in the middle is the one who actually brokered that deal in 31st of January in Nigeria, headed by the Africa statesman, Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria. So we'll be taking a look at that. Is it a season of handshake? Was it something that was imminent, though? That will be the discussion and so much more. You know, we have got political realignments taking place. Oburu Odinga yesterday said that they're not interested in having any position less. They'll only negotiate for what is right for their members. That is Honorable Bernard Kitur, MP of Nandi Hills, will be here. Wanjiku Thiga is the youth president, DCP, will be here, as well as Honorable Peter Rare, member of Parliament, Kibra constituency. Let's talk about that and much more at exactly 7. Vivian, good morning.
Good morning, Victor. Very good morning to each and every one of you who is tuned in on the show this morning. Thank you for starting off your day right here with us. I would love to hear what your panelists are going to, say about that partnership between the president and former deputy president, former president and former deputy president. I would also love to hear about the ODM side, and we had Dr. Buru mentioning,
yes,
even telling the current deputy president, we're not eyeing your seat, so just relax.
Yeah.
We're not eyeing your seat. So I'd love to hear what your panelists have to say concerning that and how that looks, how that power sharing, if it's going to happen, how it will be looking. Now, that aside, today being a Tuesday, it is Matters Health right here on Good Morning Kenya. And my topic of conversation will be diabetes and hypertension. You want to stay tuned for that conversation, as I will be having one Dr. Florence Kelly, who's a consultant physician endocrinologist, and she'll be here to just shed some light on matters diabetes and hypertension. Mike?
Good morning, Vivia, and to everyone who is watching KBC Channel 1. Now, the plan and pace for your morning has been set, so I invite you to tune into this live broadcast right here on KBC Channel 1. This is Good Morning Kenya. You can get us on all social media platforms. We are at KBC Channel 1 on all social media platforms. Follow these conversations that will be happening right here on Good Morning Kenya. Before I even let you get to the news, let me inspire you with a quote for today. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Good morning, Marie.
Good morning to you, Mike, and definitely good morning to all of you joining us from wherever you are. I'll be bringing you up to speed with what is happening in as far as news is concerned. But just to chime in into what Victor was saying about the money bouquets, Victor, there's always this thing of, is it peer pressure?
Yeah.
So peer pressure is not just for the young ones. Peer pressure also iko hapa kwa watu wa so pia na mwenzako wamepatiwa na wewe pia unataka, you don't want to be left behind.
No, tukuna mudei amongst us, so there's peer pressure.
Yeah.
Mudei, you're okay.
Mudei is fine with the, amekula chumvi ya kutosha, so, hana wasiwasi mwingi kama, Yeah, but it's just one of those things that people do to just express their care and all, but there are very many ways.
But I'm just wondering,
kwa
nini sisi tuko tunapata that money bouquet?
Who? Wewe ama nani? Wewe.
Endelea na news.
Sisi. I'm also stuck at the Sisi. You didn't speak for yourself.
Yeah, but it's, Valentine for me is not really the 14th, but it's every day that you show love to your loved ones or just your friends, your colleagues and all. It's just kindness, so, but poleni sana kwa wale ambao wamekuwa affected, especially for those who are running the business. I mean, it was a creative way of making money. Yeah. But all said and done, creativity is never, limited for that matter. So it's unlimited. So thank you so much once again for joining us. My name is Mariambo, and right about now we want to begin with the news where commuters were on Monday morning forced to walk to their destinations after a section of public service vehicle operators withdrew their services and blocked roads. The operators are protesting against alleged violence and the torching of vehicles by border riders. The Matatu owners have announced plans to hold a strike every Monday until the government addresses what they term as persistent harassment.
Commuters were left stranded on Monday after confusion surrounding a planned public service vehicle operators strike triggered massive traffic snarl-ups across Nairobi City. Long queues were witnessed at major bus stops, with many commuters forced to walk long distances or rely on border operators to get to their destinations. Matatu Owners Association President Albert Karakacha said the strike was necessitated by continued harassment of matatu crews by border riders in various towns, including cases where vehicles have allegedly been torched.
From last year up to January, we are talking about 20 vehicles which have been banned. And what we are telling our passengers, that is customers, we are sorry for what has happened, but we are trying to fight for your rights because we know very well if the vehicle is banned and it has the passengers, all of them will perish.
While announcing plans to stage the strike every Monday, Karakacha said matatu operators remain open to dialogue with the government in a bid to resolve the standoff.
So what we are telling the government, they need to listen to us. We are ready to sit down. This is our country, and the president said very well that he'll protect the properties and the Kenyans. So he must come, we sit down with him.
Despite normalcy returning later in the afternoon, drivers said the disruption resulted in losses, calling on the government to urgently intervene and end the alleged harassment by border riders.
Kazi iko mzuri juu watu walikuwa wanaogopa. Tungelitaka tu serikali siku zijazo iweze kutumia ile mikakati ambayo inafaa na kuchukulia wenye wamefanya vitendo kama hivyo sheria, kwa sababu huo ni uhalifu. Huwezi kachomea mtu gari ambao ni alone na umeichoma into ashes, na at the end of the day we mwenyewe probably wewe ndio una makosa.
Ingekuwa ni kwamba watu wa pikipiki vile ambavyo matatu ziko na sako, watu wa pikipiki pia wangetengenezewa sako yao. Ndio in case kama kuna mgogoro ambao umetokea wa kuchoma gari, wanajua huyu ametoka sako fulani. Idara ya pikipiki lakini ni sako fulani. So kupatikana inakuwa ni haraka, then huyo mtu anachukuliwa sheria.
President William Ruto has asked Kenyans to reject leaders propagating retrogressive politics, challenging the critics of his administration to offer viable ideas to drive the country's progressive development agenda. President Ruto maintains that the bottom-up economic transformation agenda bears a deliberate strategy to solve the youth unemployment headache in the country. The head of state at the same time challenged young Kenyans to be proactive in seeking the various government funding facilities targeting youth enterprises. He made the remarks in Kisumu County after presiding over the disbursement of 220 million shillings in the Nyota Startup Capital Program to over 8,000 youth drawn from Kisumu, Siaya and Homa Bay counties. That is, let's listen into that.
Siaya hoye! Homa Bay hoye!
8,820 youth drawn from 105 wards in Kisumu, Siaya and Homa Bay counties are the latest to benefit from 220 million shillings disbursement as part of the Nyota Startup Capital Program, an initiative seeking to empower over 800,000 young Kenyans.
Do Kisumu hoye!
President William Ruto, while presiding over the exercise in Kisumu, lashed out at the opposition for offering no tangible solutions to the challenges facing the nation.
Mimi naona viongozi wengine wanasema mambo mengi, wanajaribu kutupatia lecture ya mambo ya education system. We want to tell them we are fixing your mess. You messed the education system. There were no teachers in class. There was inadequate capitation. There was no enough money for universities and TVET.
Ruto maintaining that his administration has adopted deliberate and viable policies such as the affordable housing program, bilateral labor agreements and digital jobs facilities to respond to the youth unemployment headache in the country.
Today, a young person from Kisumu or Siaya or Homa Bay or any other county in the Republic of Kenya can work outside Kenya because the government of Kenya has secured opportunities for us to work anywhere in the world.
It is now evident that Pesa Mfukoni was not just a campaign slogan. Leo hawa vijana 8,820 wanatoka hapa na pesa. Hiyo ndio maana ya Pesa Mfukoni. Rais aliongea siku ile ya campaign.
The head of state called on Kenyans to reject leaders propagating retrogressive politics, pointing out the critical role of the reforms in education and healthcare in advancing Kenya's development agenda.
They cannot tell us a plan They do not have an agenda. They do not have a vision. They do not have a plan for our nation. The only thing they are telling us is that we should go back to NHIF, is that we should go back to education where most of our children did not have teachers in class, is that we should go back. What kind of reform do you engage in by going in reverse?
From Nikujituma, that is the slogan that President William Ruto is riding on to challenge Kenyan youth to transform the economic status by embracing various government funding mechanisms like the Nyota initiative. Reporting for Channel 1 from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Thank you, Wycliffe Okech. The Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and the Council of Governors have finally put pen to paper on a collective bargaining agreement which they have been negotiating for the last 8 years. The deal, the first ever between the two, is effective from the 1st of July 2025 to June 2029. Clinicians have a bag of benefits courtesy of the agreement, including career progression and promotions, improved remuneration, workforce stability, job security, payment of salary arrears, among others.
Numerous negotiations and industrial actions, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers finally has a deal after signing collective bargaining agreement with the Council of Governors.
This experience have reinforced our collective conviction that every reflection and that every challenge presents an opportunity for critical reflection and crafting a sustainable long-term solution capable of preventing recurrent industrial unrest in the health sector.
We must remember this day. It has been 8 years. And as they come, I really want to thank you, and especially the CEO, the deadlocks, the stalemates. And as I say that, let me also say that if we have hurt anyone in this process, naomba mtusamehe.
The contract, which is the first between the two entities, will address long-standing labor issues, among them transition of universal health coverage staff to permanent terms, payment of salaries arrears, promotions, harmonization of salaries.
And I think the challenges that has faced us, we attribute it to fragmented decision-making, and we will encourage that the Council of Governors can anchor a structured system under the Council of Governors that can handle the issues of the HR, so that at any time our decision-making can be actually be able to help us avoid the industrial action that has been ongoing.
During the signing ceremony, the Council of Governors Chief Executive Officer Mary Mwiti said the CBA has taken long to be signed because of financial constraints.
The second clause that was contentious on the implementation of the third cycle of salary review by SRC that was to be implemented in 2024. But all of us are aware of what happened in 2024. There was altering of the finance bill that critically reduced the component for the county governments by 20 billion.
According to Mwiti, the 5-year agreement is a sign of goodwill from county bosses and clinical officers.
Even though it is going to be signed, that effective date is July 2025. That money has to be budgeted for. So we will be requesting the unions, although we are signing today, you allow that the money be budgeted for. The areas will be given, yes.
The signing of the 2017 CBA comes barely 3 days after the union agreed on a return-to-work formula, ending their 36-day strike.
After numerous industrial actions executed by the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers were witnessed in the country, the signing of this collective bargaining agreement could be the end of that chaos. But that is just a legal signing. What is left is the implementation of the same.
Kasichana Masha reporting there. Now, the government is taking national identification registration services closer to the people with a focus on border counties. This follows the introduction of a 10-day mobile national identification registration exercise in West Pokot County, targeting residents who lack the critical document. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says the exercise is targeting at least 100,000 Kenyans.
In the spirit of devolving critical government services to the grassroots, the government has kicked off a mobile national identification registration exercise in West Pokot, Turkana and Elgeyo Marakwet counties. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says the ministry is targeting at least 15 border counties that have for long been marginalized.
For far too long, the pastoralist communities have been marginalized in terms of access to registration services. As a result, many of them are unable to access basic government services such as medical cover through SHA, matters to do with housing, and also we are unable as a country to do proper planning.
The exercise that uses live capture machines and digital services simplifies the registration process, making it faster and more accessible to many.
This is new technology that doesn't require the use of papers. It is also a very portable device that as long as you have the chief and you have the fingerprints officer and you have the registration officer, 3 people, then you can be able to visit any place of the county.
Devolution of services seeks to bridge the gap between citizens and government services and empower communities with essential identification documents.
Bungoma County government is on the spot for failing to remit statutory deductions and pay gratuities and pensions to employees. Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka found it hard to convince senators why county staff who served under his predecessor were yet to receive their gratuities 3 years down the line. The Senate County Public Accounts Committee also implored the county executive, that is, to prioritize payment of pending bills, which stand at 2.6 billion shillings.
Right away. Bungoma County Executive, led by Governor Kenneth Lusaka, appeared before the Senate's County Public Accounts Committee to respond to 35 unresolved issues flagged by the Auditor General's report for the 2024-2025 financial year. Key among the audit queries was the pending bills that had shot to 4.6 billion shillings. The county executive, however, submitted that the pending bills had reduced to 2.6 billion shillings after verification and that plans for payment were underway.
So we wanted to be very sure that when we make any payments, the payments are actually towards existing projects and not non-existing projects. I want to give that commitment that we are going to pay, based on those who have been waiting longest.
Governor Lusaka assured suppliers that the debt will be paid gradually within 3 years, with 590 million shillings already allocated in the supplementary budget for clearing the oldest pending bills. The senators also took issue with the non-remittance of statutory deductions for its employees, thereby delaying the disbursement of pensions and gratuities to beneficiaries.
Have you paid gratuities to staff of the former administration, those who ought to have been paid gratuities?
Chair, we have not paid to all of them. There is a balance of...
Why? Because gratuity, the assumption is, as you process an employee's salary, there is an element that is supposed to go to an account, just like deposits and retentions, in the ideal case, so that when an employee exits service, they should not come begging.
Others are the UHC guys who were on contract earlier and then transferred into permanent. They're asking, and you remember the UHC matter at the Senate, they are keeping asking, where is their gratuity? So this matter spans as far as 2014.
Governor, you see the difficulty you have. That at that time, whether you are sitting in the Senate or somewhere else, your officers made a requisition that included all these things. Then it was not done. If you go back to the control of budget to approve the same expenditure, she will reject it, and we support her.
According to the Auditor General, Bungoma County owed its employees 549 million shillings.
So what we should be recommending as a committee, this 549 million that is on the books of financial statements of county is for investigation and prosecution for the officers concerned, because if I take the money that belongs to the employees and I don't remit to the statutory bodies, it is stealing.
The county governor stated that 130 million shillings has been provided for in the supplementary budget to cater for delayed pensions and gratuities. As senators demand prosecution of county officers responsible for deducting and failing to remit monies for pensions and gratuities, the affected workers in Bungoma County continue praying that their dues will be paid sooner than later. Geshoke Washira, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
And from there we head to sports, where the Kenya Police came from a goal down with 5 minutes left on the clock to salvage a point against relegation-threatened Bidco United in the only FKF Premier League match played yesterday. After a goalless first half, Bidco United found the back of the net first in the 85th minute, but they could not hold on to the 3 points as Champions Police levelled in the first minute of added time. The 1-1 draw leaves Bidco in danger of the axe at the end of the season as they sit 16th position with 16 points, just 1 point above APS, Bomet, and 2 points above bottom side Sofapaka. Police have moved up 1 place to 5th on 29 points, 10 behind leaders Gor Mahia.
Bango lake pale Beatrice Oganga kumaliza za leo. Kotiama! Bado na bado mpaka Kotiama funge.
And that's where we bring the news to a close this morning. Thank you as always for your time and your company. My name is Mariambo. My colleague Victor Olo will be back with the rest of Good Morning Kenya.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati mchezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchanganuzi wa soka.
CAF ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Semana Sports, Bonga na Gava.
Semana Spokes is your platform to query the government, get answers, and understand what is being done in your country and across the nation. It's your time to ask, participate, and be informed. Don't miss Bonga na Gava every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1.
And welcome back. Good morning. Welcome back to the program. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, third day and the calendar 2026. Karibu sana to the program. My name is Victor Olo at KBC Channel 1. So let's take a look at basically what's in the political arena. Being a Tuesday, we are taking people and politics. And already my guests are in studio. Be taking you through the front page of our local dailies very shortly. Let me start with Honorable Bernard Kitur, who is a member of Parliament, Nandi Hills constituency. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning.
You're well?
I'm well, thank
you. Karibu sana.
Good morning. Viewers, Happy New Year. I know I have not had the opportunity to come and have the interaction, so I'm looking forward for a healthy conversation.
Absolutely.
Because this is the year of politics.
We can hear the drum beats.
Yes. Absolutely.
From the other side of the mountain, being beaten thoroughly.
That is kind for us. Thank you very much, Victor.
Okay. And next to him is Member of Parliament, Kibra constituency, Honorable Peter Orero, otherwise known as Mwalimu. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you.
So far, so good. You're well?
Very well.
About your constituency?
We have been on recess and we have now been meeting our members in the constituency.
Yes.
But as my colleague has said, it's like the politics have begun. Yeah. The mountain and the valleys. I don't know where others fall.
I don't know which gear it is right now. You tell us what it is, but it's so interesting how the politics discourse is being played. The moment we have our last paper on the ballot box, another cycle begins immediately. Interesting. Okay, let me start with the front page of our local dailies. Mheshimiwa, what do you have on the front page of the Star?
Star is IBC wants sweeping reforms ahead of 2027.
What does it say there? Explainer?
Of course, is inside that the chairman of the commission wants to fill long-standing gaps, contradictions and ambiguities that have complicated election management in past cycles.
Yeah.
Elections don't begin on polling day. They begin with a clear, predictable, and harmonized legal framework. Without this, the most well-intentioned preparation are exposed to unnecessary risks.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you make of that? Because I think, the chairman, Ethicon, has been, on another trajectory to reform the IEBC. And we've had this discussion over and over again. The reforms in the IBC, the IEC way back then, the Isaac Hassan, now we have got the Chebukati Commission, now we have got Ethicon Commission, but still, we still have a lot of loose ends in the commission itself. What do you make of that headline?
Now, of course, this commission was just formed the other day.
Yes.
I think we have been having inactive, basically, a not working commission, because the chairman was just appointed the other day, and therefore it is giving very little room for the IBC to maneuver, since the election is nearing, that is next year. I think the gaps that they're trying to correct is about the election offenses. People also wanted referendum. How do you align referendum with the election dates?
Yes.
Referendum basically should be before the election so that people can make informed judgments. And they are other sections within the commission, you know, the elections don't just begin on a day. We have legal frameworks which must be aligned with the timelines of the election. Now, these legal frameworks require that they must secure maybe ballot papers early enough with not just predictable features, with features that can not be removed, obliterated, or tainted with other things.
That's security
the security features.
Yes.
So all these need a lot of legal frameworks and a lot of financing. They need to have proper finances. Like now, the other day they were saying they are lacking maybe 13 billion as debts, what they have not been given for these elections. So all this require a lot of juggling around. So I think this is what the chairman rasters, it's called the rasters.
Yes.
The other name is difficult for me to...
Ethical.
Yeah. I think it comes from my background. We don't pronounce such words. So I think it's coming with good ideas. But what about the environment? Is it conducive for him to implement this?
Even the timeline that we have
with these ideas? Yes, my colleague has said it is already a political mood. You can feel the drums beating. So I think we really need to focus on this, and the chairman of the commission must stand his ground on some of these gaps that he needs to fulfill regarding the political framework that is required and legal actions that is needed to be carried out before the election time. Yes.
Okay. Mheshimiwa, he's talked about the timeline that we have, but it also means that Parliament will also have a very key role to play, because some of them, yes, I know it's an independent commission, but the input of the National Assembly will also be needed in this.
Absolutely, of course. Because there is the issue of the budget process, and there is the issue of the amendments of the various laws that might be important or critical, because there are so many dynamics that have happened between 2022 and as now. For instance, it's a lot of technological advancements, and where Kenyans are now, and as I was challenging somebody, telling them this coming election, everybody must be prepared for an avalanche of the technological advancement. Even the way the processes will be run during the campaigns will be largely on the space of technology. But maybe allow me, first of all, Victor, to really applaud the new commission. I've had an opportunity to have an interaction with the chairperson, Ethicon, when he appeared before our committee. Their preparations, you remember the time we were having a number of by-elections that are coming in. When the commission had been fully set, they appeared before our committee. I happened to be the committee of the on the implementation of the constitution, and therefore we usually have all these commissions report to us, and they appeared before us. And the way they have organized themselves, I want to give an assurance to all Kenyans that this is a commission that is well set. They are well qualified. And the Secretariat was actually, completely, well set up as well. If you can see what has happened in the recent by-elections, that is just a test of what these people can be able to do in the very near future. So the only challenges that are going to be there is mainly the budget process. And that is where now I and Orero will have to really work to make sure that we support the commission to have the budget that they're talking about. They talked about the pending bills that they have, quite huge indeed. But I think also that's a space that we really need as Parliament to really set our foot, tighten on it. And secondly, as I said, the critical law amendments that needs to be now brought into place to fill into the gaps of what has happened in the past. There are several gaps, the challenges that happened, in the past, maybe during the electoral process, how the reporting was being done, all those small bits and pieces that they were able to notice that there were gaps that were there in 2022 that need to be rectified now going into 2027. So those are just the few areas that I think we will be very keen. And as we said, politics is now picking up in our country, and we have to live a better Kenya than we found it, even as leaders. A new generation comes in, we want to live a country that then we have a peaceful elections, and most of this largely, even a peaceful elections, then the elections must be some sort of transparent.
As a commission, if elections were to be held next week, what would be the stumbling block for a nation with the current IBC as it is constituted?
I think they are well set. It's just the budgeting processes. It's about the resource allocation. That is the biggest thing. But as long as we have them well-resourced, then, and of course we have checks and balances. Like now, as we keep calling them to come to appear before us, if there are things that we feel they have a challenge, or when they feel there are things that they want us to assist them, they appear before us and give some of, and put some of these demands on the table. But then we need this and this and this to be able to actualize our work. But in my view, I can tell you, it was just the commission that was not, in terms of the commissioners, they were not fully constituted. But right now, they are well set.
The house is full.
In my view, they are well set. And let's prepare for what is to happen in the future. I'm sure we'll have credible elections.
Absolutely. What do you have on the front page of the Daily Nation?
On front page of the Daily Nation, Victor, and viewers.
Maybe I just interject. One of the issues that will, if the elections were to be held, one of the things that will not have been done is mass voter registration. The timelines are very limited, although there is a continuous voter registration. But you know, the last 1 or so years, we have had this idea of the young people. They call them themselves the Gen Zs. Although in my constituency, we call them the youths. So, most of them have not registered, and the timelines, we have a very short timeline. But there are also other requirements as boundary delimitations, especially looking at the number of constituencies and even the wards in this country. We have had a surge of population growth, and people who have attained the required voting rights, that is above 18 years. This determines the constituency delimitations, the boundaries. So I think this is also a challenge, that it also brings a constitutional crisis, and they must know how to tackle this so that we don't have litigations after the elections have been carried out. So I think these are some of the few challenges that we need to deal with before we get into real electioneering process. Yes.
It seems you have a lot of work once you resume after recess. I mean, there's so much of the House to handle.
Yeah, I can have maybe a different perspective from my colleague. You know, Kenyans naturally like the last minute. Of course, you had said if the election was to be held today.
I don't know how it is in your constituencies. Let me start with you, Mheshimiwa. How is the process in your constituency, Nandi Hills, for example?
What process, sir?
The registration. It's an ongoing process.
Yes, it's an ongoing process. And as I said, Kenyans like the last minute. And secondly, I think the flow of information is getting different now, because I told you we are now beginning to embrace technological advancement in terms of the flow of information. I can tell you there will be a high level of registration of voters. As it is right now, the figures are low, generally across. The lethargy, the normal Kenyan lethargy is really low. People are not, they usually wait for the last minute. But I can tell you we are going to have many young people in our country, trust you me, registering to be voters, because they've always been known to be the ones
that are... Do you even monitor, as you go across the constituency, do you even monitor?
Yes, we have the figures. We've always been...
You have the figures?
Yes, we've always been given the figures, but it's very low.
How is Kibra doing?
Very well. Yesterday, I think we registered over 100 people. Sometimes it's 70. Sometimes it goes low. Sometimes even only 20.
There needs to be a lot of...
So it needs a lot of information transmission.
Yes.
And encouragement, especially on the young people and the young ladies. The young ladies, most of them do not know about the values of casting a vote. And I think this must be brought to the attention of the young ladies and the young people, that those who don't vote really are the people who contribute to bad governance in any country.
Correct.
Because you need to vote to have a say on how governance is carried out.
And the biggest challenge also I think we're having in some of the regions where we come from, Victor, is, and many other constituencies, the constituency where Rero comes from apparently is, Cosmo within the city. It's just not too far off. You can be able to find the center where they're doing the registration. But in our case, you find it's being done at the sub-county offices. So it's quite sometimes, where we come from, people have big lands, so it's quite far to be able to get there. So I think when we'll have another mass registration, and that being in the use of social media to be able to speak out the benefits of the same, we are going to have a huge number of Kenyans going for the registration process.
Can you give us the front page of the Daily Nation?
How 1 trillion body debt will hit you. Kenyan's loan burden has risen to over 12 trillion and higher than the recommended ceiling.
So how will it hit you?
In my view, I think this is sensational because every budget, they usually a budget cap.
Yeah.
So I think what they had said in this particular bit is that we might have to then go into borrowing domestically, so which then is going to crowd out. When I went through reading, just to understand a bit, is they were saying the private sector might have it a challenge to be able to access, the funds, because government will have been, the institutions, financial institutions would rather lend to government because it's more secure and they are guaranteed of the repayments. But in my view, these are just the normal dynamics. Of course, there's been there's been good trajectory in terms of the economic growth of our country from every sector. So these budget caps are normal, and our economy is expanding. As the economy is expanding, then also expect as well that borrowings must also expand, but not in a larger manner, because you see, we might not again be taxing Kenyans more. So if Mbadi has chosen that he wants to maybe as he plugs in on the budget caps that is now going to be existing, he might want to borrow from the banks. That might then crowd the private sector from borrowing. But in my view, I think these are things that it might be a bit too sensational in my view, but I think these are just the normal dynamics of economic
You want to
markets.
chime on that?
Although I'm not an economist, but I understand that you see our current debts hit about 11 trillion. This is both at the domestic level and the external borrowing. When you do a comparative analysis on the past regimes and the present regimes, and although the times have changed, when you look at the Kibaki's time, you'd realize maybe the borrowing, the external debt and the domestic debt was normally almost at 50-50. You would realize maybe external debt is 4.5 trillion and also the domestic debt could be the same. But looking at it, when we have domestic borrowing to a tune of over 1 trillion, the expectation is that most of the local banks might rush to lend to the government because they have definite paying period, and they will not be they will be clearing their debts promptly. This leaves the small and micro medium-sized enterprises might not now succeed. When you look at the medium-sized enterprises, they employ a lot of Kenyans. Like in my constituency, the informal settlement, most of them are involved in the small, micro, medium-sized enterprises. They sell small commodities, and they require the local banks to lend them the monies. And when now the banks, all of them, are geared to lending the government, the borrowing now, it will go down. In fact, when you look at the borrowing of the small size enterprises, it has come down. I think this year, the percentage, I'm not sure of the percentages, but I think it has gone down drastically. So we need, I think, to also support the local investors, the small size, medium enterprises. But this might be very temporary as the economy stabilizes.
Just Victor, maybe I like the summary that Orero has actually put across. I don't
like
know.
the summary.
He claims not to be.
That he's not an
He's
economist.
not an economist, but apparently I'm looking at the statistics here, and everything he's saying is so factual. But I think in summary, you would see in Moi's period, the foreign debt was at 394 billion in terms of the borrowing, and the local debt was 236 billion. In Kibaki's time, he left it at 1.8 trillion, which was 50-50, both foreign and local. In Uru's time, there was a growth of from 1.8 trillion to 8.7 trillion, which still was at 50-50. So when it came to His Excellency William Ruto's reign, it is at foreign debt is 5.5, while the local debt is at 6.5 trillion. And true to what Orero said, there's been a credit to small business has reduced significantly from 7.9% to 0.2%.
Yeah.
So that is quite drastic, as you mentioned. But in my view, I think also the government has been keen not to focus on external borrowing.
Yeah.
And that is why we are building reserves, like what we are talking about, the issue of the savings. But then we can be able to not only be borrowing from the banks, but we can borrow also from, funds like, NSSF and the rest as we build their buffers into the future. So in my view, I think to stabilize also foreign, the payments that have been going out, the previous government focused mainly in most of the loans that were taken, were in foreign denominated currencies, and that is why we've been having great challenges paying most of our monies to interest abroad. So I think for William Ruto, he is more of a focus locally than doing it externally.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, on the front page of the Standard newspaper, the one-term plan. That's also on the front page of the Standard newspaper. And the three gentlemen here is former President, you'll excuse me, I'll use a lot of former here. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta,
former Vice President,
Kalonzo Musyoka, and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. What is the Standard trying to report here is that there is some fresh details which has now emerged on how former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo is brokering a truce between ex-President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to forge a united opposition against President William Ruto in 2027. Multiple sources say that the plan took shape at a meeting in Nigeria attended by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, where the leaders agreed on the need for a single formidable challenger, and now plans are now underway to make it happen sometimes in the course of this month. So is it a case of organizing the House of Mumbi, Mheshimiwa Orero?
At times can really change. When it has just reminded me,
yes,
that when Kalonzo was a vice president, Uhuru was still nowhere. I think he was still a minister of finance.
Yes.
And then later on, Uhuru becomes the president, and Kalonzo remains now in the opposition. So things can really change. And that shows that in politics, there is no permanent enemy.
You can now confirm that?
Yeah, I think when we look at that,
yes,
the photos there, my official and interpretation of what is there, everybody thought that because of the supremacy battles and ideological gaps between the most powerful central figureheads, that is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua, their mode of political operandi, how they operate, is quite divergent and are at variance. But when you see them come together, it means that in politics you cannot have permanent enemies. And this can only now be directed that they want to come together and bring their votes so that they can oppose the incumbents. I have been around for some time that one day in politics can be a very long time. One time when the Ford Kenya and Ford was completely united, I remember when Kenneth Matiba went for treatment outside. And his people, as it was said that time, where his people then means his supporters from his region, said that he had to contest the presidency. And he went and contested the presidency. And that
message was delivered when he was still abroad. Yes.
And that is how the opposition lost that election. I almost, without doubt, that in the next 6 or so months, there will be a totally different lineup in terms of political alignments, because politics is about self-interest. It plays a big role that people look at the self-interest. I am imagining when the conditions of Rigathi Gachagua were lifted in the court environments and was told that he is able to vie for presidency, and his impeachment, the court battles were lifted. I doubt whether he would unite with anybody else to leave the presidency. So this will depend on a lot. Many things will play out in the near future. But from that photo, it shows that they are bridging the gap between the former president and the former immediate vice president.
Yes.
You know, both of them are, two of them are former vice. One was a vice president, the other one was a deputy president. So I believe that it shows that they want to consolidate their voting basis.
Yes.
And this looks for me that they want to depend on their numerical strength in terms of numbers in this country.
Okay.
I look at it that leadership must be diversified. We must not use our numerical strength in a manner that is going to upset the political environment in a country.
Yeah. Which before we take a break, we are just taking a break in 1 minute. But then, just under 1 minute.
Yes. No, in my view, I think that conversation...
No permanent enemies, no permanent...
Absolutely. You know, the same person, the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, was the one who was really fighting Uhuru Kenyatta like nobody's business.
Yeah.
You remember the Wamitego thing. So, and things just changed.
When they took the Ambussis, I was one of them. I was one of the people who went to help Uhuru Kenyatta. I went to his farm.
In Uplands?
Yeah, in Uplands.
Is it Northlands?
Northlands, yeah.
Yeah. But in my view, the politics of Kenya is going to change. By the way, even these one-term statements that are being mentioned, I think that President William Ruto has lifted to another level the kind of politics that Kenya is going to have. Let me tell you, instead of having all those meetings, you know what they need to do? Let them come up with issues, agendas for Kenya, a proper manifesto that is better than William Ruto. Any other stories, it is going to flop. The issue of tribalizing our country is slowly but surely dying out, Victor. The future that we are building within this year, you are going to see the conversation is purely going to be based on issues. Take it to the bank.
I can see my colleague is a real convert. You know? He's aligned to the policies. He wants,
that is the way to go.
He wants to explain them better than the owner of those policies.
Yeah.
And so we are taking
I want to
get into details, because was this was it eminent that there was going to be a truce in the house of Mumbi? What was it going to portend to the voters in Mount Kenya region? And now, what is alleged to be a handshake in the offing, what is it going to make in the political landscape, nationally speaking? Let's talk about that when we come back. Wanjiku Thega, who is the youth president of DCP, will be on set with us shortly. Stay with us.
Confirm heart cath.
Halo, ume. Samahani. Samahani, siwezi kufika huko. Ndio, nilikuwa tayari njiani, halafu mgonjwa wa dharura alikuja.
After I'm gone, make sure he learns Chinese. Teach him everything, okay? And I wish sincerely that your dreams can come true. And you'll become a fine doctor one day and have your own life and romance.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Want to enjoy free-to-air digital TV with crystal clear quality? Here's how to get started with Signet. Step 1. If you have a smart TV, you're good to go. Next, connect the aerial to your TV. Now, do an auto search on your TV. Just follow the prompts on the screen. And that's it. You're now tuned in to Signet. Sit back and enjoy a wide range of free-to-air digital channels. For technical inquiries, call the Signet hotline on 0770 572 656.
Welcome back. Is it now a point of political realignment? It's the season. Let's just say the political transfer season is here, the political realignments, and in particular, one of the biggest stories that is making headlines today is that truce between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and, of course, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Welcoming Wanjiku Thiga, who is the Youth President, DCP. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Karibu. Now, let's just start from where we stopped. You must be so happy about this headline. Were you aware that this was going to happen at some point? There is no coincidence here.
Yeah, this is what we expected. It's important moving forward as a country.
You expected for how long? Were you expecting this to happen?
Ever since the conversation around the beef between His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua and Uhuru Kenyatta, I knew to reach a point. These are people who work together. His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua used to be a PA to Uhuru Kenyatta. And people who have worked together know each other, even at a personal level, deeply. Then it's mandated that even if you have difference in opinion, in ideologies, there's a point of collaboration that has to come back. And even for the betterment of this nation, it's important for the two powerful people to sit and move forward. Yeah.
So
in fact, even chart a path
it
forward.
was just quote-unquote drama.
Yes, and made up beef, I would say. Because there's never a point
what
where...
What did you say, made up
Yeah,
beef?
There's never been a point where Uhuru Kenyatta has ever come forward and said, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua did this to me. It's always been other people purporting what has happened, and Uhuru Kenyatta has never spoken about himself. You've seen both gentlemen defend each other publicly. We've had instances where Rigathi Gachagua said people who are fighting Uhuru Kenyatta should stop. And Uhuru Kenyatta has been seen, even during Jubilee's NDC, say people need to stop fighting His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Therefore, I am very happy that now this is a conversation that we're having as Kenyans, that two great gentlemen are now on the same table, and it's now for people to see, because this was happening back then.
Okay, so can we confirm that it's a deal sealed?
I wouldn't say that, because they haven't come out to say themselves. It's important and imperative for them to come out.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Allah.
Okay. Wishmia Kitura, I can see you want to say something.
Yeah, this is extremely sad, indeed very sad for a country, that a nation that is trying to unite itself as Kenya, while others are busy wanting to unite themselves in their tribal cocoon. And this is where the nation is saying, as leaders, let us have a conversation, nationwide. And some of the, headlines that we are seeing today is ridiculous. If then the former president knows themselves the former deputy president, then why do you go look for Olusegun or Obasanjo to come and bring some truths local here? Those are just led by a drama king who was the Secretary General. We've known him doing the drama things. So these are machinations of trying to create some imaginations that there is something so unique that is going to happen when you have combination of leaders coming together from a particular region. And I want to encourage Kenyans that, look here, Kenyans, let us have a conversation as Kenyans, not as tribal cocoons in a
it's
corner.
very interesting.
And secondly, I repeated again earlier, and I told you, Victor, that the future of this country is going to be a conversation on the agendas. What are you bringing to the country? Better version than what the current government or regime is doing. It is not going to be about, oh, this leader is united with this leader on a tribal cocoon.
Is there a problem if they unite?
That's what I'm telling you. The conversation now going into the future is not much about.
No, is there a problem if they unite?
No problem.
Thank you.
No, there's a problem.
Thank you.
Because if the union is on the basis of tribal, cliches, then that is not what we want as a nation.
I think, Olo, it's very interesting that Mheshimiwa Kitur runs quickly to come and speak about tribes. Yet when Gideon Moi and Ruto were sitting together, it wasn't tribal. It's funny that they keep doing this, by the way. Even God himself, by the way, is tribal. Two people can speak and we don't have to even bring this whole hullabaloo. Let me speak this. It's only tribal if it's Kikuyu nation doing so. But it's not tribal if your people sit down and speak.
That is not
true. You see, they rile the community up, they rile Kenyans up when it's the Kikuyu community speaking. There's nothing wrong with people from the community speaking. At the end of the day, if two people had an issue, it's important that people sit down. Even if they seek whatever one they want to do, is it to seek reparation, to seek transitional justice, whatever it is imperative. But this issue of always bringing up tribal narratives, we are sick of it. Mheshimiwa Kithure.
Victor,
actually, and the young people of Kenya, that's not what they want.
If you
that's not what we want.
Properly, let me now put it from my version. What we are talking about is the conversation of a group of leaders from a particular region, always talking about that particular region for an agenda of our country. I said that going into the future, the conversation is going to be broader. When you talk about the issue of Gideon Moi and William Ruto, the day Gideon Moi stepped down from being the Senate candidate for Baringo, that was a unique thing, and it was just a day's event, and it just flipped out. It was just for that specific time. It was not something, a conversation of day in, day out, day in, day out. That conversation of tribal, entrenchment of our politics surely is slowly but dying out.
I'm trying to imagine how this thing is going to change the political landscape.
You know, when I listen to these people, I get perplexed. The only thing which will remove this ownership of leadership, I think we need to have a constitutional change that this presidency should be demystified in the future. The presidency should even be rotational, so that certain people would not have the privilege of thinking that they must be the leaders of this country. We must embrace all the Kenyans. We have so many tribes in this country. We must unify the Kenyans. And all Kenyans must think positively. We must not always believe that presidency must only go to certain regions in this country.
Yes.
Our arguments must deviate from the premise that some people own the presidency. And this is what brings about tribal cocoons in this country. You know me, I lead a very diverse constituency where we don't talk about tribalism. If I were to tell you my MCAs, they are from all the tribes. I have a Kamba MCA, I have a Kikuyu MCA, I have a Luya MCA, and then I have a Luo MCA. So it means that this is a real cosmos. We can never say that we want to unite first in my constituency, then we can go for a national leadership forum. No, because we are united as Kenyans in our constituency. And this is what we must preach to all leaders in this country. We must be leaders who accommodate everyone and everybody else.
Absolutely.
So, I think during our times, as we were growing up, you know, I grew up I went to school in Kiambu throughout my lifetime. And most of my friends are Kikuyus. This is the kind of reasoning that Kenyans must have, that this country must change from tribal cocoons to a national cohesion that will bring a lot of unity in our political alignment.
Okay, it's not, let me just put it this way. So what if the combination of, we have Eugene Wamalwa, we have got Kalonzo Musyoka, we have got Martha Karua, we have got Rigathi Gachagua, you know, the united opposition, so that is okay. If they unite, is that okay? Mheshimiwa Kithure, Mheshimiwa Orero?
Of course, it is okay. Yeah, it is
That's
okay.
not tribal. So if two brothers come together to shake hands, that is not tribal. I'm just asking.
Let me ask you. If you picked on what Orero has just said,
right?
Even when you're talking about when you're talking about Malwa, you know, there is a constituency behind him.
Right.
Right? And that constituent, somehow, you know, they have a background of whatever nature. When you're talking about Kalonzo Musyoka, there is a constituent, the cousins. Yeah. So earlier I said the conversation going into the future should be purely based on what agenda do you have for the nation, better than that which is already been put on the table.
I think
it shouldn't be the conversation of my brother, the other one.
What is the agenda? Mheshimiwa Kithure, I like the way you put it. What is the agenda if they come together?
Correct.
I would like to respond to what the Waishimias have said.
Go ahead.
And I think, you know, what we as young people are sick and tired of is the pretense that these old politicians keep penetrating.
No, I think we were also young.
And,
you must be and the young is what age? How old are you?
Allow me to continue with my point. Please don't. No, you know, we are sick and tired of it.
How old are you?
They'll sit here.
How old are you?
They'll sit here.
How old are you?
They'll sit here and pretend and speak about tribal politics, while if I tell Kithure right now to go and run with DCP from where he comes from, he won't. Why? Because UDA is also a tribal party. Because in where he comes from, the biggest consolidation comes from the rift. If we tell a Mheshimiwa from Western or Nyanza to run with DCP, it might be hard from him. Because ODM is a tribal party too. Their base is in the Luo Nyanza community. So we need to stop this.
I can say without any doubt that ODM is the only political party.
I did not interrupt you. If you allow me to just finish.
It's a conversation.
If we drop this, and this is what young people are tired and sick and tired of, it's the pretense and the lies that this always use media to spread. The truth is, every political party has its strongest base, and DCP's strongest base is in the Mount Kenya region. That doesn't mean that DCP is also, we are not, we have to come from a base so that you can be able to negotiate at a political platform. And again, UDA, ODM right now are talking about shares, the same thing that we went and penetrated and pretended that DCP's party leader Rigathi Gachagua did. He spoke about shares, and they are doing the same exact thing right now. They are talking about UDA, ODM 50-50 shares. It's the pretense that you are sick and tired of as young people. And to finish, for us, what does that mean? For us, what does it mean as Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua sit down and shake hands? It means that now we are speaking in a unified voice. Even as a mountain, even if we are homogeneous, we all have different expectations, different needs, and they're county-based, because different counties collect revenues from different sources. There are counties that for them it's business, there are counties for them it's agriculture. So for us, we all have to sit down and agree what is our expectation as we front the leaders that we want them to move to 2027. As a region, we've agreed, we've had clowns for representations. If you go to national assemblies, there are those who haven't been able to negotiate and represent and debate in the national platform for us. So what do we want to see? We want to see competent leaders coming from the mountain. And that's why now we are sitting and speaking. We have to negotiate as a region before we move to Kenya.
Okay. Mheshimiwa Kithure, before you continue, you'll also comment on that. But then, what political effect will it have after that handshake?
Nothing. Actually.
If it happens.
Look, first of all, I think it's quite unfortunate and very sad to be able to create a scenario of saying, this is a very old, this is very young. I can tell you, between me and her, my age difference couldn't be any more than 10 years. Or even less.
Their egos are very hard.
No. You see, the problem is, you say that your husband is interrupting you when you're speaking. And so when you try to bring in that aspect, and again, when you talk, you actually go back still, same path of tribalistic politics. You know, she's going exactly there. And she's saying that they are sick and tired. I am also youthful. I am not, I'm a youthful member of parliament.
He's not even 40.
I'm not even 40. You know?
Then why does his ideas seem old?
No.
It is like the old people.
This is where the baboon cannot see the other side of the other one, and they laugh at the other one thinking they are worse off. Now, when you talk about, exactly these conversations of saying you have leaders who now needs to come through that particular outfit they are talking about, that tribal outfit they are talking about, that then you will have the best leaders who are coming to debate in parliament. That is not the point. Just the political parties are just vehicles. Or you can actually come in as an independent candidate sometimes, and you can still work for the people that you represent. And as Aurelio said, most of the cosmopolitan communities that we have within this region, you know, the people you represent are diverse of whatever sort of nature.
Yeah.
Now, coming back here, I said that the future of Kenya, the present and the future of Kenyan politics, I repeat again, is not going to be tribal. It's purely going to be on the basis of what is it that you are going to bring on the table for conversation, for the greater good of our country. It is not for the language that I speak. I repeat again. In fact, I started my conversation today saying that let's prepare for a technological avalanche of how politics is going to happen in this country. If that then is going to be the case, most of what you want to do, and there's so many people are developing platforms and those kinds of things, that you'll be able to sell your agenda, your vision, what you want to come and do for the people that you want to represent. It's purely based on the contents of your mind, not on what you speak with your tongue. And therefore, I want to encourage the people, and where she says she's a youth leader, that please rise up beyond that youth leader and rise up to the purview of talking about the better view for the people you represent, not tribalistic lenses that you use in every conversation.
Okay. What ideas will be there?
I just want to encourage my sister here.
Okay.
I thought she would come on the premise of the youth agenda. What the youth wants for this country. And that is where she is supposed to base all her arguments. But she's trying to talk and vilify the leaders who she says are old. And she is supporting the same old leaders. I'm seeing the Kalonzo Musyoka, I'm seeing Rigathi Gachagua, I'm seeing Uhuru Kenyatta. How are we going to comprehend that she's aligning herself with the old leaders? Here she's telling us that they are tired of the old leaders. Let her come and tell us that as a youth...
Victor, look, if you give me the opportunity to speak about it then, because that wasn't the question.
This is what we have as a youth. This is what we want as a country. She would have come and told us that we want to do away with these old leaders of ours from our region. We want to bring youthful leaders with youthful ideas. But I can tell you, my sister, like me, my constituency, my first priority are the youths. If we go with you in my constituency, I think about youth. Because it is about the mind. Youthfulness is about the mind and what you want to do for Kenyans as a youth.
Very good.
And I think that is where we need to base our arguments as leaders. And let us not holistically dismiss the leaders who are not below 40. No, it never goes like that. Great leaders, we have had great leaders. Even Obama was not 30 years.
He became the senator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us base our arguments on statistical data and evidential background of what we want to achieve as leaders.
Okay. As you respond to that, Wanjiko, because the question is, so now, it was a made-up beef. Let me take you back to what you said. It was a made-up beef. To whose advantage was that beef?
I think by the current state, because they want to show that we are not working together. There is an issue between two great national leaders, and for them it's a narrative they have been spinning throughout. Yeah.
What is going to change in the political realignment in DCP, in Jubilee, and all that? We are seeing a lot of movements in the two political parties.
A stronger united force, a stronger united opposition, and what else is going to change is that we are going to harmonize our manifesto. I hear people saying we don't have a manifesto, we don't have an agenda. We do. and our Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has been speaking about it. I have been speaking about it. My deputy party leader has been speaking about it. But again, it will come out very strongly when we do our launch, where we are going to be launching our manifesto. Then they can now move beyond. I don't know what narrative they will come up with, because the one-term slogan has taken over the country and the nation. So, moving forward, Mheshimiwa, if I can speak. Moving forward, what do I want to say? DCP's ideology is about intergenerational leadership. When I do young meetings, youth meetings, I always ensure that we have 2 or 3 strong national leaders that we've had, that they've served this nation for 20, 30 years with us. So Mheshimiwa here is saying that we should be expunging those 3 leaders, he said, because they are older. We won't expunge. We are going to do intergenerational work. As we bring in more new emerging politicians to this country, because we've had enough of what we are having in the country. Because as a young person, first of all, I'm an abduction survivor. This is what these 2 people don't know. I'm an abduction survivor, and because we've had leaders in this country who support the fact that this state doesn't tolerate dissent. Dissent must be protected if it's true democracy. So moving forward, what do we young people want? That's why we have an incubation hub of DCP for young leaders. And ourselves as young people, we are creating our own youth manifesto, what we want to realize when in 2027 DCP takes government. And we are the people who are going to implement it, because young people are running for office. Young people will be employed to save this nation. Because again, and this is one message I tell young people, nobody's coming to save us. We are going to save our own nation, because we've given other people opportunity to save this nation, and look at the mess we are. Right now, the president is forcing young people to go to school, but there is no money. But what is he doing? He was given the money, he took a loan to take young people to school, but he didn't take that. But he didn't take young people to school. Wamekula do. So he needs to justify this money. Wamekula do.
You know, let me ask you, Victor. You know, sometimes don't throw things just because you just have to say. Something Orero says, evidentiary proof. When you say, in fact, I don't want even to get emotional for what she said as the last part. Let me go back to the beginning point where she started from. I said earlier that we are looking forward to hear what agenda they have, maybe in terms of health. We want to hear the agenda of the United Opposition.
Launching their manifesto pretty soon.
Victor, that is the conversation that even in their bits and pieces, we've had them throwing and saying, you know, we're coming to kill Shah. And then you ask them, so what is the other solution you're bringing up from the universal health care coverage? You know, you're talking about education, you're talking about how do you create, you know, say the 5 trillion, you know, fund that is going to create roads across the country, not roads that go on one region of our country, which we appreciate. But when you realize, and Orero will tell you, part of the reasons why we had some changes in some of the key committees, you know, like the budget committee, is because that even in the new dispensation, the government that came in, some particular leaders will still drive, you know, funds to one region of our country. And we are saying, no, we want equitable distribution of resources across the nation. Now, when it comes to the agenda of the young people, I've been a young person. I have a better view of what I know. I'm still within the, you know, the periphery of the same. And therefore, I've also had an opportunity to interact with many young people who came in before her in DCP, who were quite close to the former deputy president. Because, you know, I was a very close ally of deputy president. You know that, you know, when he was still deputy president. I used to be, you know, we used to be some of those who were quote unquote being, you know, nurtured. But I can tell you, it is doomed. Now, let me come to an assertion that is made that is very sensitive. When the President of the Republic of Kenya did mention that we want every young person to go to school, you will understand something. The biggest challenge in school is purely the uniform, because the government pays all the things, and I think Orero will be able to say that more, because they are the guys now who are going to crunch the figures. I'm sure he's in the education committee. And secondly is the issue of the food. The government does have food sometimes that are being given out for the arid areas. It will not be difficult for the government to say, for these 80,000 young people, this is what we are going to do. And I think that question was asked when we were having the plenary in Naivasha, where then members of parliament were keen to find out what plans then did you have for this segment of these children who they are really extremely needy. And The government has a plan, and we as leaders are seized of that money. So to claim there is money, to claim there is money that was borrowed and was not given out, I think that is the fertile imagination of unmeasured levels.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Mheshimiwa, you'll give us more about education shortly, but let's just come back. Are you afraid of the combination of Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, Rigathi Gachagua, the combination of Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua, Justin Muturi? Are you afraid of that combination, Mheshimiwa Orero, Mheshimiwa Kithure? Are you jittery about that?
Not really, but before I forget, I want my sister Wanjiku to know that some of us, when we handle our constituencies, if you go to my office, all my employees are youth.
Yeah.
And that can be confirmed. And what we do, so the only thing I don't want to do is to have a wholesome condemnation of people. Yeah, let us talk of specifics. And we cannot, as Kenyans, believe that there are people who have not done anything to this country. There are people who have done so much to this country, despite their ages. Yeah. So let us not have a wholesome condemnation. Let me go to that, we fear the combination of Eugene Wamalwa. I think we all know as Kenyans the ability of all these personalities. We know the ability of Wamalwa. We have been there with him before. I was part of those who campaigned with him, with Wamalwa and all that. I know the ability of Kalonzo Musyoka because I have also been there. And I know the ability of Rigiji because we have also been there. So we don't fear anybody. I think what Kenyans need more, how do we help this country? How do we move forward? What agenda do we have for this country? It's not about personalities. It is about what you do to the people of this country. Like me, if you ask me, what am I doing for Kibra people? Yeah. If you go to Kibra and ask them, what is your MP doing for you? That is the agenda that we need to have. It is a conversation that we need to have. We don't need to have personalities. When I say like Eugene Wamalwa, how many MPs did this party have? Let us talk about the agenda of the country.
Thank you. The director is on my ear. Okay. When are we expecting this handshake? I'm just quite interested on that.
Yeah, you just wait and see the news.
All right, give us a date.
Yeah, you just wait and see the news. It's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I want to urge the state before we finish is that we need to see transparent electoral process. We need presidential announcement at constituency level and national level.
Okay.
Hakuna kura zinaibiwa around here.
Okay.
Sisi wa Kenya, sisi young people, we are the ones who are going to safeguard the votes.
Mheshimiwa Kithure belongs to that committee.
Yes,
that message is directed to you.
Yeah, it's going to be actually issue of technology. So I can assure you that there will be a lot of transparency in terms of the running of the elections. But you mentioned something very important. You mentioned something very important. You asked what is going to happen for this united opposition that is coming in. Let me tell you something, two things actually. One is that in the last elections, the competitor William Ruto, who was the deputy president, had one of the biggest politicians of our nation being supported by then the regime, as it were. That was the late Raila Amolo Odinga. And what did William Ruto sell? He sold an agenda. Okay? So what do you expect now, and we are all looking forward into, is not the union of leaders. It is going to be the agenda on every sector of Kenya. And Kenyans are going to deduce what will be in there for us in what you are bringing.
He lies. He's always lying.
You said you had two things. You're done.
No, I'm done.
No, these people, my constituency is just across here. And I must say hi to the Kibra people, the great Kibra people.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Member of Parliament, Kibra constituency. Asante sana for always coming to the show. Wanjiku Thiga is the Youth President, DCP. Thank you so much for making time, as well as Member of Parliament, Nandi Hills, Mheshimiwa Bernard Kithure. Gentlemen and lady, asante sana.
Thank you.
Let's go out there and tell people to take their registered voters cards.
Correct.
Is that okay? We are doing that. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Victor Lo. Good morning.
off the show with Nairobi Fashion Week, a platform that creativity meets heritage.
And yet, even without a recent edition, Koroga still lives on. In the way we plan events, in the way the audiences show up, and the way Kenyan music and African talent are celebrated today.
Tonight we feature the one and only. He's a singer, songwriter, and of course, a performing artist. I'm talking about none other than Charisma.
Kuna trust issues, kila siku unanishuku. You disrespect my lover. Remember my guy. Tonight I don't want no drama.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1. Looking to advertise on KBC? KBC announcement services are now available on eCitizen. Visit kbc.ecitizen.go.ke and fill out the online application form. It's simple. 1. Complete the form. 2. Upload required documents. 3. Receive a quotation based on word count. And 4. Get notified via SMS when your announcement is ready. Please note, clearly indicate the type of announcement, service station, and all relevant details. 2. All applications must be made online only. Manual submissions will not be accepted. And 3. Announcements will air after news bulletins. For assistance, reach us on email ecitizen@kbc.co.ke or use our social media handles, Facebook, your Facebook account, and X at your X account. Or you can call us on 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124. KBC announcements. Simple, fast, and digital.
Mtazamaji wa KBC Channel 1 na vile vile wenzangu upande wa pili Victor Olo na kikosi kizima, najua mmekuwa mkipiga siasa pale Channel 1, na asante sana mwenzangu Rashid Mwamkondo upande wa KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Mtazamaji na msikilizaji, tujiunge tena katika shughuli nzima hii, mahojiano ya moja kwa moja kupitia runinga ya Channel 1 sawa na KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya kama ilivyo ada, na tunakupatia nafasi pia kuweza kuzungumza nasi kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii. Hii leo tutakuwa tunaangazia athari ya ukame hapa nchini Kenya. Tayari kikisiwa kwamba takriban watu milioni wameathirika na ukame ambao unaendelea katika sehemu mbalimbali ama katika kaunti mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo kutoka kwako msikilizaji na mtazamaji, ningependa uzungumze nasi kwa mtandao na utuambie, je, unadhani ni kipi ambacho tunaweza kufanya kwa pamoja kama taifa kuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kusaidiana kupambana na janga la ukame hapa nchini? Lipi ambalo tunaweza kufanya pamoja kama taifa, watu binafsi, ili kusaidia kupambana na janga la ukame hapa nchini? Sema nasi kupitia Facebook KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, KBC Channel 1, sawa na vile vile katika mitandao ya kijamii ya X @Doramanya @Radio Taifa FM, #Zinga, #Good Morning Kenya. Mtazamaji, Kenya inakabiliwa na dharura ya ukame inayozidi kuongezeka katika kaunti mbalimbali kufuatia ukosefu wa mvua wa msimu wa Oktoba Disemba mwaka jana 2025. Takwimu zinaonyesha kuwa mvua zilizonyesha ni asilimia kama 30 hadi 60 pekee ya wastani wa kawaida, hali ambayo imeathiri kaunti ambazo zina ukame, kwa Kiingereza tunasema asal counties. Kwa mujibu wa shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu la Kenya, zaidi ya Wakenya milioni 2 wameathirika, huku malisho yakipungua, mifugo wakiaga, vyanzo vya maji vikiathirika na vile vile kuongezeka kwa joto tena zaidi hapa nchini. Hali hii imezua changamoto kubwa za kibinadamu sawa na changamoto za kiusalama. Na msikilizaji na mtazamaji, basi kuliangazia swala hili ya hali ya ukame hapa nchini, naungana naye Bwana Peter Murgor. Yeye ni meneja anayeshughulikia kupunguza, hali kadhalika kudhibiti hatari za majanga hapa nchini katika shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu. Karibu mtazamaji na msikilizaji, tuweze kuandamana katika mjadala wa siku ya leo. Bwana Murgor, karibu katika studio zetu.
Asante sana.
Kwema ulikotoka?
Nashukuru, labda wewe?
Niko salama.
Naam.
Kumekauka pia ulikotoka?
Ila joto, kuna sehemu ambazo zimekauka, lakini kuna sehemu hazijakauka, lakini kuna joto jingi kweli. Ishara ya kwamba kuna mabadiliko tabia nchi ambayo yanatuathiri kwa njia tofauti. Tuwe katika yale makaunti yanayoathirika na majanga, ama tuwe katika sehemu ambazo kwa wakati wa kawaida huwa yanajulikana kama yana hali ya kawaida, lakini pia unaona kunaanza kukauka.
Naam.
Naam.
Wakati unataja neno mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, huwa watu wana mtazamo mbalimbali, labda katika lugha tu ambayo mwananchi ataielewa. Tunazungumzia nini haswa?
Wengi wanajua mabadiliko tabia nchi kama climate change. Climate change ambayo inatuathiri kwa njia tofauti. Wengi tutakumbuka wakati tulikuwa wachanga, unaangalia sehemu ambazo yalikuwa yamejaa mito, yamefurika na maji, nyasi, miti mengi, hali ya hewa ni nzuri, kuna vivuli. Lakini ukiangalia sasa sehemu ambazo zilikuwa hazijakauka zinakauka sasa. Sehemu ambazo hazikuwa na joto kwa sasa kuna joto jingi kweli na ukame. So hivyo ndivyo inaonesha vile tabia ya nchi imebadilika, ndiposa kwa Kiswahili inaitwa mabadiliko tabia nchi. Naam. Na hiyo nchi ni mimi na wewe. Mimi na wewe.
Naam, shukrani sana. Tuangalie katika ama tuzamie swala la leo. Kidogo tu tupatie taswira hali iko vipi nchini, maana tunaangazia mambo ya ukame na athari zake. Tupe taswira ya vile hali ilivyo kwa sasa.
Hali inazidi kuzorota, na tunapoangalia nyuma, tathmini zinatuonesha kwamba katika miaka 40 zilizopita ni kama tuko na janga ambalo kidogo la tishia. Wengi wanaweza ona hawatajua kiwango ambacho tunaingilia, manake katika sehemu zingine inakaa ni kama hali ya kawaida, lakini tunaongelea kwamba tuna kaunti kama 11 ambazo ziko katika hali mbaya. Kwa hizo 11 kuna zingine karibu 12 ambazo tunazitazama kwa karibu zinaelekea kuwa hali mbaya. Sasa kuna sehemu ya tatu, wale ambao hawajakuwa kwa hali mbaya kwa sasa, na kwa kawaida huwa hawako kwa hali mbaya, lakini wanaelekea pale. So ukiangalia kwa ujumla 23 kaunti ambazo zinatishia kuwa na majanga, na zingine 12. So kwa jumla utaangalia kama 32 makaunti ambayo yako katika rada yetu kuangalia katika ile athari ya majanga. Na sasa ukiangalia tena kwa zaidi, sasa inasikitisha, manake tunaangalia, tukianza mwaka tulikuwa tunaangalia kadri ya watu 2,100,000. Tathmini za hivi punde za mvua mfupi ama October, November, December rains zinaonesha kwamba hizo nambari zinaongezeka. Sasa tunafikia kadri ya 2.4 na watu ambao wanaathirika na wanahitaji chakula kwa hali ya dharura. Ukiangalia mifugo yameanza kuanguka, yanakufa. Ngamia huwa inajulikana kama mnyama ambaye ana ustahimili mkubwa kwa majanga, lakini unaona ngamia sasa unaweza kuona mifupa. Kama ngamia amefika vile, je, wale wanyama wengine wako vipi? Ilikuwa inasikitisha jana tukiangalia kwamba kuna hata watu wa mifugo walikuwa wanataka kuuza hata zile mifuko zao kuzuia madhara, na hata kwa shilingi 500, nakwambia shilingi 500 mbuzi mmoja hawawezi kuuza, manake yamedhoofika. Na kama wanyama wameathirika vile, watoto wako vipi? Tunaongea katika kadri ya 1743 watoto wachanga kati ya chini ya miaka 5 ambao sasa wana athari za kiafya, kwa Kiingereza tunasema nutritional needs. Wako malnourished. Na tunaangalia wazazi wa mama ambao wananyonyesha kadri ya 1193 ambao wanahitaji msaada pia na vyakula. So hali ya chakula na hali ya kiangazi inazidi kuzorota. sikitisha zaidi ni kwamba, na unatakana tujiulize, janga latokana vipi? Janga la njaa latokana vipi? Ni kwa sababu kuna upungufu wa maji, ukosefu wa maji. Japo mchanga unaweza ukatoa na ukazalisha, lakini ukosefu wa maji ndio inazidisha mambo haya. Na ukosefu wa maji pia inachangia madhara ama magonjwa yanayohusishwa na maji. Aidha kunywa maji machafu, kunywa maji yasiyo safi, yakaleta maafa ama madhara mengine. So hiyo hali inazidi kuzorota, na leo kuna kongamano pale Westlands la wale watu wa hali ya hewa na hali ya anga. Kukongamana pamoja kuangalia hali ya hewa na kutathmini siku zingine zijazo zitakuwa vipi. Kenya wajua kwamba kuna hali mbili za mvua. Kuna zile tunazoita kipindi kirefu cha mvua ambacho ni March, April, May kwa Kiingereza, ama mwezi wa 3, wa 4 na wa 5, na kisha kuna zile mvua fupi October, November, December, ambapo kuna kuangana mvua sasa mvua fupi. Ni muhimu tuelewe kwamba wale watu walio katika zile kaunti za majanga ama ASALs, arid and semi-arid lands, ambazo ni 23, kwao hizi mvua ndefu hazina maana kwao, kwa maana hazizalishi. Huwa mara mingi ni mafuriko.
Naam.
Sasa zile mvua fupi ndizo za maana kwao, ambapo mvua fupi ikikosekana ndio tunaona kutakuwa na janga la njaa.
Naam. Na umesema vizuri masuala ya kutegemea mvua. Labda tutakuja hapo baadaye tuone ni vipi tunaweza kufanya kama taifa kukosa kutegemea mvua. Yapo mataifa kama vile Misri ambayo yamekauka, lakini kwao hutawahi kusikia kwamba kuna njaa. Na wakati ambapo tunazungumzia swala hili, na umeligusia vizuri sana athari zake kwa watoto, mifugo, na vile vile tunaweza kusema adults kwa Kiingereza, iweje kwamba miaka nenda miaka rudi, kila mwaka, manake hili si swala geni, kama tunashuhudia masuala ya ukame hapa nchini, baada ya labda kipindi kirefu cha mvua tunakuwa na kama uhakika tayari kutakuwepo na ukame. Mbona iwe hivyo kwamba kila mwaka ni kwamba tujiandaa kama taifa, washika dawa wako tayari, ni kama kila wakati tunapatikana kushtukia tu?
Na linasikitisha kwamba banake unalolisema ni ukweli kabisa. Nakumbuka wakati mmoja mwaka wa 2016 kulikuwa na janga mbaya, na nilikuwa katika kaunti la Marsabit. Nilikuwa sehemu moja, tulikuwa tunataka kuvuka saa 2 asubuhi, tumerauka kwenda kuwasaidia watu kwa maana kulikuwa na janga, lakini hatungeweza kupita kwa masaa 6, manake mtu ambao tulikuwa tunatakana kuvuka lilikuwa limefurika na hatuwezi tukapita. Sisi tuko kwa janga, lakini kule Ethiopia kumenyesha, maji yanapita, hatuwezi kupita kwa masaa 6. Kwa nini naleta hilo? Kwa lile swali lako. Na tukajiuliza tukasema, maji haya ni mengi, maji haya yanaweza kuzalisha. So shida kubwa ni kukuwa na yale miundo misingi ambayo kama mabawa, kama miundo ya kuwekeza maji na kuwekeza rasilimali ya maji. Ni kana kwamba hatujachukulia maji kama rasilimali na tukaanza kuwekeza miundo misingi ambayo anaweza kuyateka yale maji ili baadaye tukaweza kuyasafisha na kuyatibu. Umetoa mfano mzuri kama Misri na yale miji mingine yaliko katika sehemu za ukame yanaweza kuzalisha. Ukifikiria nchi kama Dubai ni nchi ambayo iko katika hali sio tofauti sana na the ASAL counties, lakini tofauti ni ipi? Miundo misingi. So swala kubwa ambalo tutakana tujihusishe sasa ni vipi kama nchi, na ndio maana idara yangu inahusika nayo sana katika shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu, ni vipi kama nchi tunaweza kuwekeza rasilimali katika miundo misingi ambapo yanaweza kutufanya kama wananchi tuwe tumejiandaa, tuwe tuko tayari kuweza kukabiliana na majanga ambayo miaka nenda miaka rudi yatakuwa nasi. Ili swala lisiwe kwamba janga laja, lakini janga likija litatupata vipi? Na ni vizuri kwamba sasa kama nchi tuko katika huo nafasi ambapo watu wameanza kuelewa zaidi. Miaka za hapo awali shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu lipokuwa linataka kusema tuchukue hatua za mapema, watu walikuwa wanafikiria labda wale tu wanaongea mambo yao, labda wanataka kukusanya rasilimali. Lakini sasa watu wameanza kuona mambo ya kudhibiti majanga, mambo ya kujiandaa ili mafuriko yakija yanapata mabawa ama miundo misingi ya kuwekeza maji yako tayari. Na shida letu tena halikui kuna maji ama hamna maji. Mifugo yanapata maji ama yapati maji, watoto, jamii, kila mtu, mimea, unajua. So hilo ndilo swala muhimu, kwamba sasa rasilimali ni muhimu yawekezwe katika miundo misingi ya kukabiliana na ukame.
Na awali pia umetaja kwamba takriban wanafunzi, si wanafunzi lakini watoto kama 743 wameathirika nafikiri na utapia mlo. Sijui mnafanyaje kama pia shirika, manake wakati tunazungumzia hapo kama hatuko makini pia inamaanisha hayo ni maisha ambayo yanaweza kupotezwa. Kwa sasa mnafanya vipi kuhakikisha kwamba mnakabiliana na tatizo la utapia mlo kwa watoto na pia kwa ujumla wale watu wengine ambao pia wanaathirika na baa la njaa na ukame kwa jumla?
Naam, swala nzuri. Na acha niseme kwa sasa, mara nyingi watu wakifikiria shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu wanafikiria tu kwamba mambo yetu ni first aid ama ile huduma ya kwanza, lakini pale nyuma kuna mambo mengi sana tunafanya. So katika shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu, kama vile mimi niko kazi yangu ni kudhibiti majanga, kuna kitengo cha utapiamlo ambapo yanazingatia zaidi. Kuna wale kwa Kiingereza tunawaita nutritionists ambao ni madaktari, wamesomea mambo ya afya, mambo ya utapiamlo, na wanazingatia rasmi kila siku mikakati ambayo atasaidia. Kama kwa sasa kadri ya 22,000 na watoto tumewasaidia katika wale ambao katika ile hali ya utapiamlo na wanahitaji wanahitaji huduma ya kuwasaidia, kuwapatia vyakula, tunaita kwa Kiingereza commodities, nutritional commodities, ambayo atawasaidia kuwaregesha katika hali ya kawaida. Kuna akina mama, kuna wazee, kuna wale walio katika magonjwa ya muda mrefu. So shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu linashirikiana na idara ya afya kote nchini, ambao wana mahospitali, wana dispensaries, wana zile facilities kule mashinani, kushirikiana nao wale ambao wamesajilishwa kuwa na utapiamlo, kwamba wanasaidiwa kupata ile huduma ya kwanza ama vile vyakula vya kuwezesha kurejea katika hali ya kawaida. Pia tunahamasisha na pia tunazidi kusemezana na serikali tuone ni mikakati yapi tutawekeza na washikadau wengine kama vile UNICEF, kuna wale World Food Program ambao tunashirikiana na wao kuleta pamoja rasilimali, kuleta pamoja zile vitu tunahitaji na madawa na vyakula tunavyohitaji, na ni madawa vyakula rasmi ya zile za afya ambazo zinaweza kuwapatia ile hali ya kurejesha mwili katika hali ya kawaida. Hivyo ni baadhi ya mikakati, na pia zaidi ya hapo, manake kumbuka nilisema kwamba maji ni changio kubwa. Pia tunajaribu kuhakikisha kwamba kuna maji, wanaweza kufikia maji ama kwa Kiingereza to access water. Na kwa muda huu, kwa rasilimali chache ambazo tumezipata kutoka kwa washikadau, tumeshirikiana pia na serikali. Kwa upande mwingine, kuna karibu visima 216,000 ambazo tumejaribu kuchimba kote nchini, kuyasafisha, kuyatibu, kuweka pumping ili yaweze kupatia wananchi maji safi wanayohitaji kwa afya yao. Naam.
Shukrani kwa hilo. Na kwa sababu zungumzia sana masuala ya maji, najua tatizo labda vyanzo vya maji vimekauka, na ulitaja hapo awali tabia zetu kama wananchi, labda ukataji miti na mambo mengine. Na wakati kunakuwa na ukame hivi, kumekauka, utakuta zile county ambazo tunasema zinaathirika kwa sana, zile tumesema asal counties, pia wanakuwa ni wafugaji. Na kwa kawaida labda tutarajia kutakuwa na mzozo labda wa kimalisho, wao kutafutia mifugo wa malisho ama pia kusafiri kutoka sehemu moja hadi nyingine. Kwa sasa hali imekuwa vipi katika hizo kaunti ambazo zimeathirika kutoka kuhusiana na wale wakazi labda na malisho ya mifugo wao, na kuna kitu ambacho kinafanyika? Umesema kuna wale wanataka kuuza hata shilingi 500. Utakuja hapa manake tunatarajia kwamba serikali itaingilia kati hata kama ni kununua wale mifugo ili tuhakikisha kwamba wajaga, so kufikia pale iko vipi? Mzozo huo upo?
Na darubini lako ni sawa kabisa, umeelewa hali ilivyo. Leo asubuhi nilipokuwa naja na kulingana na kile kitengo chetu cha kutazama na kuangalia maneno yanavyoenda Emergency Operation Center, hivi tunavyozungumza kule Isiolo wanaona kwamba watu wamekuwa wengi, manake kuna sehemu bado zina hifadhi za maji, na kunapokuwa na hifadhi za maji katika sehemu fulani, wale walio na mifugo wanafanya uhamiaji, wanahamia katika zile sehemu. Wanapohamia katika zile sehemu ambazo zina hifadhi za maji ama zingali zina maji japo zinapungua, unapata kwamba idadi ya watu, idadi ya mifugo yanakuwa mengi sana. Tuangalie lilo picha kidogo. Watu wanapozidi kuwa katika sehemu moja, kuna mambo mengi yanaanza kuibuka. Mwanzo kabisa ni watu wanakuwa wengi zaidi kuliko ile hali inaweza kutathmini, land holding capacity. Unaangalia vitu kama vyoo, unaangalia vitu kama miundo misingi vya kutumia kama shule, kama health facilities zinaanza kulemewa. Lile bawa lilo na hifadhi linaanza kupunguka katika maji. Na pia pale kunaanza kuwa na mizozo kati ya watu ambao tunaita resource based conflict, ama zile mzozo unaotokana na rasilimali. Na hilo si jambo geni, ni jambo liloko na tunaliona hivi sasa katika sehemu kadhaa, na zinachangiwa zaidi na watu kutaka kujaribu kutathmini, kudhibiti hali ya maisha na kuweza kulinda mifugo zikazidi na zikaendelea. So ni kweli kusema kwamba mambo haya, na najua kwamba serikali imekuwa ikitazama. Kama wiki moja iliyopita tulikuwa na mazungumzo pamoja na washikadau kadhaa, serikali ikiwa kipaumbele kwamba tutazame kwamba athari hili la ukame litatuathiri vipi kwa hali ya usalama. So inaleta mzozo, inaleta zile kuvurugana kidogo, vurugu za hapa na pale, manake kila mtu anataka mwanzo afikie maji, mimea yake yapone, watoto waweze kuyafikia yale. Lakini jambo lingine linaloibuka ni kwamba unaona wazazi sasa wanapohamia, wanahama aidha na mifugo ama wanawaacha watoto na wake zao kule nyuma. Sasa wangeweza kupata maziwa, hawapati maziwa. Kama wamehama nao, hawaendi shuleni tena kama kawaida. Kwa hiyo inamaanisha tena elimu inaanza kuathirika. Unaweza pata kuna watoto wachanga wanaanza kuingia into mambo kama early marriages. Unaona, yale ni mambo sasa yanaanza kuibuka katika athari hilo tunalita gorofa la pili, ama secondary issues that start emerging from the drought.
Na umeeleza vizuri sana athari zake kwa upana, kumaanisha pia masomo yanaathirika katika njia moja ama nyingine, na mara nyingi majanga yakitokea wale waathiriwa wakuu wanakuwa ni akina mama na watoto. Wazee wanaenda kutafuta alafu mama na watoto wanaachwa.
Sote tuathirika, hata wale wazee wanaathirika, lakini unasema kweli kwamba wale walio katika hatari zaidi, kwa Kiingereza huwa tunasema the most exposed, wanaopata kuwekwa wazi kwa hatari zaidi ni akina mama na watoto, na labda wazee, na wale walio na magonjwa, na pia wale walio na hali ya ulemavu kwa njia moja au nyingine. Kwa mfano, watu wanapoanza kuhama kwenda katika hali bora, yule mtu aliye na ulemavu mwanzo mwili wake umeanza kudhoofika, lakini pia hawezi enda kwa upesi kama jinsi wengine wangetaka kwenda. Ikiwa inabidi amsajili mtu ambaye atamsaidia katika ile kazi, utapata kwamba hela zake hana hela. So unaona, alafu unapata wale watoto pia ambao wangekuwa shuleni kusoma. Yule msichana ambaye anaondolewa, anawekwa wazi sasa kwa hatari za mambo mengine ambayo si mazuri. Kwa mfano, itabidi sawa ende muda mrefu sana kufikia maji. Pale katikati nini yaweza tokea? Si kila mtu ana nia nzuri. Unaona, mambo kwa Kiingereza tunaita sexual abuse, ama kuachariwa kwa athari za unajua ngono na vitu kama hivyo. So athari nyingi zinaondoka, ndio zinawakabili kina mama, watoto, wasichana na hata vijana wadogo.
Mtazamaji na msikilizaji, kumbuka tunaangazia hali ya ukame hapa nchini Kenya, na tungependa kupata maoni yako kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii pale katika Facebook page yetu ya KBC Radio Taifa, sawa na KBC Channel 1, ama pia kupitia mtandao wa X @Doramanya @Radio Taifa FM @KBC Channel 1. Kipi ambacho kama taifa kwa ujumla ama wewe binafsi unadhani ya kwamba tunafaa kufanya ili kukabiliana na hali ya ukame ambao unazidi kukithiri katika baadhi ya kaunti hapa nchini? Tasoma baadhi ya maoni yenu, na pia muda ukiruhusu tutakuwa tunaweza kushika simu wakati ambapo tunazidi kusonga mbele. Studioni bila shaka naye Bwana Peter Murgor ambaye ni meneja ambaye anashughulikia masuala ya kupunguza na vile vile kudhibiti athari za majanga katika shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu, yani Kenya Red Cross hapa nchini Kenya. Bwana Murgor, kuna mengi ambayo umeangazia, na mara si moja kwamba sisi ni taifa ambalo tunatajwa kwa Kiingereza kwamba we are reactive. Kwamba tunasubiria mambo yatokee kisha baadaye tunachukua hatua. Nafahamu fika kwamba serikali tayari iliwekeza kupitia naibu rais alitaja kwamba serikali imeweka takriban shilingi bilioni 6 ili kusaidia katika kushughulikia athari za majanga haya ya ukame. Sijui unaweza kusemaje wewe mahali ambapo naketi kuhusiana na sisi kama taifa vile watu tunashughulikia majanga, na hasa hili janga la ukame ambalo huja kila mwaka hapa nchini, kwamba tunakuwa tumejiandaa ama tunashtukizia?
Na ni swala jeti hilo ambalo waliuliza kwa sasa, manake tunatakana tujiulize kama Wakenya sote, na nataka nitoe darubini ama picha moja ndio tupate kuelewa shida kuu liloko kabla tufikirie janga. Kawaida huwa kuna utabiri wa hali ya hewa, na mara nyingi tuelezewa kwamba kesho huweza kukanyesha. Mkenya wa kawaida ukiambiwa kutanyesha, nini huwa inafanya kwa kichwa chako? Unashuku, si ndio? Utasema kwamba ngoja tuone kama kutanyesha. Lakini ushapewa tahadhari tayari kwamba kutanyesha. Sasa kuna mambo mawili, kupata lile tahadhari na kuchukua hatua kulingana na lile tahadhari. Sisi ukiwa na mzungu kwa mfano, na sisemi kwa, yani nataka tu nitoe mfano ndo tuweze kujifunza jambo. Mzungu atalichukulia kwa atalichukulia sana kwa ukubwa lile tahadhari. Atasema tumepatiwa tahadhari ama onyo kwamba kutanyesha, ama tumepata tahadhari kwamba kesho kunaweza kuzua ghasia, kwa hivyo mimi sitoenda. Lakini Mkenya utataka kusema acha niende nione, twende tu polepole tuone venye kuko. Sasa ndiposa wapata mara nyingi hili unaloliona kama kuwa watu wa kukua reactive unavyosema, ni picha kubwa ya sisi kama wa Kenya. Tuna tabia ya kupenda kusubiri hadi dakika ya mwisho ndio tuweze kuchukua hatua, japo kulikuwa na tahadhari. Na nataka niwaambie wa Kenya kwamba idara ya hali ya hewa, the Kenya Meteorological Department, imeweza kuwekeza rasilimali na wamepiga hatua kubwa kwa kutoa utabiri. Na sasa utabiri wao ni ya hali ya juu. Wakisema kutakuwa hivi, jamani mumsikize, itakuwa hivyo. Mkiangalia hata sitaki kurudia siku miaka 2-3 jinsi ilivyo. So shida kubwa ni kwamba mwanzo kabisa sisi kama Wakenya tuwe watu wa kuchukua tahadhari kwa njia njia ya kumaanisha. Manake sababu ukipewa tahadhari mwanzo lichukue. Na ndiposa kama sasa saizi tukiwa na washikadau, shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu liko mstari wa mbele kujaribu kupigia debe mambo ya kuchukua tahadhari. Ndiposa mimi kazi langu kuu moja, kuna lile jambo tunalita kwa kimombo anticipatory action, ama kwa Kiswahili ile hatua ya kuchukua hatua kulingana na kudhibiti ama kutathmini. Unatathmini, unatabiri, kisha unachukua hatua, haungojei lile jambo lifanyike. Na ninataka niwaelezee kwamba jambo linalotupatia nia ni kwamba tunaona kwamba serikali sasa imeanza kuwekeza rasilimali katika hatua za kuchukua hatua kabla ya majanga. Hapo awali ilikuwa utangoja hadi janga lifanyike, hadi tuone mifugo yameanguka, hadi tuone watu wameathirika, ndiposa hatua ichukuliwe. Lakini kwa sasa na nikitoa mfano ni kama sasa mimi najua kwa karibu sana tunafanya kazi na the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, the Ministry of Special Programs. So hiyo State Department ya Special Programs najua kwamba wamekuwa kipaumbele wakikesha wakijaribu kufikiria ni njia ipi. Tumehusishwa pia kama washikadau na tumeambiwa tujaribu tuchore ramala la kuonesha ni vipi tutaweza kufanya katika miezi 6 zijazo. So hivyo unaona kwamba tayari katika zile bilioni 6 najua wanataka kuwekeza karibu zingine. Mimi si msemaji wa serikali, lakini najua kwamba kuna mipango ya kujaribu kuwekeza rasilimali zingine ili miezi 6. Kwa sasa miezi 3 zijazo tutafanya vipi, na baada ya hapo mafuriko yatakapoanza, mvua itakapoanza, kuna uwezekano wa mafuriko na ukame pamoja, kuwa ni vipi tutafanya. So tuko katika hali nzuri sasa, manake ambapo watu wanaanza sasa kukubali kwamba tunahitaji tuchukue hatua ya mapema na tuweze kuzuia athari zinazotokana na ukame na majanga yote.
Na umetaja vizuri hapo kwamba idara ya utabiri ya hali ya anga hutoa utabiri. Tutasema kutakuwepo na mvua ya vuli, mvua ya masika, kutakuwa na hali hivi. Kwa hivyo tatizo pia ni kama vile nimekuelewa, ni kama hatujakuwa na imani sana na zile tabiri ambazo tunapewa.
Naam. Ni mwanzo ni kutokuwa na imani, lakini pili pia ni kutotaka kubadilisha ile tabia. Nitangoja hadi mafuriko yafike ndiposa nitachukua hatua. Nitangoja hadi nianze kuona dalili za janga la ukame ndiposa nichukue hatua. Na pia kumekuwa na shida nyingine ya kuelewa zile tabiri ama zile jumbe za utabiri, na ndiposa tunashirikiana na idara ya kutabiri hali ya anga, tunashirikiana nao na jamii pia kujaribu kusema tutaweka hizi jumbe za tabiri katika lugha gani ndio mpate kuelewa. Na pia kumekuwa na shida ya rasilimali, manake utaniambia ni gure ama ni hame niende sehemu iliyo salama kwa sasa, kwa mfano wakati wa mafuriko ama ukame, lakini nitaenda vipi? Pia jambo la tatu ni ile hali ya usalama, kwamba najua vipi nikienda nitarudi nipate vitu vyangu vikiwa katika hali ya kawaida. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo mengi sana, lakini muhimu ni kwamba tuchukue hatua zifaazo. Ni hatua ndefu kufikia pale, lakini muhimu tuanze kwa njia ya kwanza kuchukulia maanani zile jumbe za utabiri wa hali ya anga, alafu kisha tujaribu tushirikiane kama jamii. Sote tuna majukumu. Serikali ina majukumu, idara ya kutabiri hali ya anga ina majukumu, sisi kama washikadau tuna majukumu, lakini pia kama jamii tuna majukumu. Kila mmoja ana jukumu katika kudhibiti majanga.
Na la msingi pia ambalo nimekuwa nikifuatilia na kuliona katika miaka mingi ambapo tunakuwa na ukame, moja yazo ya mambo ambayo yatajitokeza ni viongozi kujitokeza wazi kimasomaso, na hata sasa wapo baadhi ya viongozi wamejitokeza wakitaka ukame utangazwe kama janga la kitaifa katika zile tunasema asal counties ama sehemu ambazo zimeathirika. Ningependa kuelewa kutoka kwako mambo mawili. Jambo la kwanza, kutangaza ukame kuwa janga la kitaifa ina maana gani, na wakati tunatangaza sasa kipi ambacho kinafuatia, na kama tumefikia hapo mahali ambapo inafaa kutangazwa kama janga la kitaifa?
Okay. Shukran. Na hili swala wala watatiza wengi, manake watu huwa wanashindwa ni tutangoja hadi lini ili tupate kukubali kwamba kuna janga. Kuna mambo mengi ambayo lazima yawekwe katika mizani. Lazima yazingatiwe, yaweke katika ratili, na tupate kuona kwamba tumeangalia kwa undani. Inapotangazwa kwamba kuna hali ya janga, imekuwa sasa jambo kubwa ambalo linahitaji serikali kuingilia kati. Ni kama kufikia hali ya kusema kwamba tumelemewa, tunahitaji usaidizi. Unaona, hilo ni swala moja. So ni muhimu kuelewa, hata wewe mwenyewe unapopata tatizo, kabla useme umelemewa, uwe unajaribu kadri ya uwezo wako wote kudhibiti hilo swala ambalo unalolipitia. So katika majanga yote yale, kabla yatangazwe kuwa hali ya hatari ama hali inayohitaji washikadau kuingilia kati, huwa kuna yale mizani yanaangaliwa: hali ya anga, hali ya mimea, hali ya mchanga, kuna ile tunaita soil precipitation index ama ile moisture iliyo katika michanga, mimea yako katika hali gani, hali ya afya, ama utapiamlo uko vipi, watu kiasi gani wameathirika. Kuna yale yote lazima yazingatiwe, na baada ya kuzingatiwa kuna kiwango lazima kifikiwe. Kile kiwango kikifikiwa, ndiposa wanaweza kuelezewa kwamba sasa tumefika kiwango fulani, tumeangalia mizani, tumeangalia yale vizingiti vyote, tukaona kwamba tuko katika hali ya hatari na tunahitaji sasa usaidizi. Na pia kama sisi wenyewe tumelemewa, hatuna mikakati yanayoweza kukabiliana na lile janga.
Mahali tulipo kwa sasa, tumefikia hapo penye inafaa kutangazwa kwa janga la kitaifa?
Kuna sehemu nyingi ambazo zimeelekea pale kwamba tunaanza kuona zile ishara zote kwamba hili ni swala linalotaka kuangaliwa kwa karibu. Na pia ni kwamba kaunti tofauti ziko katika hali tofauti. So kuna zile kaunti tayari ukiangalia kama Mandera, uangalie kama kama Wajir, kuna zile kaunti 11 ambazo ziko katika ile hali ya hatari sasa, ambapo zinahitaji kusaidiwa na rasilimali ziekezwe kwa zaidi. Manake watu wengi wanaathirika, mifugo yanaathirika, watoto kwenda shule, masomo yameanza kuathirika. So vitu hivyo sasa vinahitaji kwamba kuangaliwe kwa karibu sana, na kwamba tuanze sasa kuangalia kama janga linaloathiri nchi kwa njia mbaya. Na unaangalia pia usalama unaanza kudhoofika, manake watu wanakuwa katika sehemu moja na wanapata kuanza kuzozana kwa sababu ya kutaka lile rasilimali ambayo ni maji, kila mmoja yapigania.
na kama nimekuelewa, umesema kwamba wakati inatangazwa kama janga la kitaifa inamaanisha kwamba tunaitisha msaada, tunatafuta ufadhili.
Yes.
Ninyi kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu kwa sasa, labda hali yenu iko vipi kusaidia wale ambao wameathirika kimsaada na mambo kama yale? Maana umesema ikitangazwa basi wafadhili wanakuja kwa sana. Kwa sasa wapo wale ambao wameingilia katikano na serikali kutenga zile shilingi bilioni 6, labda wapo wale wafadhili ambao wamekuja na kusaidia?
Hali imekuwa ngumu kidogo wakati huu. Sababu gani? Sote tunajua kwamba kwa karibu mwaka mmoja uliopita na nusu, hali ya kuwekeza rasilimali katika huduma ya humanitarian work ama kazi ambazo tunafanya zimepungua. Kenya sasa haiangaliwi kama nchi ambayo inataka msaada sana. Wenzetu kama Somalia, Sudan, Ethiopia wanaonekana kuwa katika hali ya juu zaidi kuhitaji msaada kuliko Kenya. Na uchumi umedhoofika. Tuelewa kwamba ukiangalia katika dunia watu wale wafadhili wameanza kupunguza ile msaada wanatoa. Sasa kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu tunajipata katika sehemu ambapo rasilimali na wafadhili wamepunguza kutoa, lakini lile hali linazidi kuongezeka. Kwa miaka mingi tumekuwa tukifanya miundo misingi, tumekuwa tukijaribu kutengeneza mikakati ya kudhibiti hali ya majanga, na katika miaka 2-3 yaliyopita yote yaliharibika kulingana na zile janga tulizopitia, kulingana na mabadiliko tabia nchi. Lakini pia tunajipata wale watu ni wale bado wanahitaji msaada, nambari zinazidi kuongezeka, mahitaji yanazidi kuongezeka, lakini rasilimali za kukabiliana na majanga yanapungua. So kujibu swali lako ni kwamba shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu tunajipata katika hali ngumu sana, ambapo mahitaji yameongezeka, mahitaji ni mengi, kuna mikakati mingi tunahitaji kuchukua, kuna hatua nyingi tunahitaji kuchukua, lakini zile rasilimali na wale ambao wameitikia mwito wetu ni wachache, na hatujafikia kile kiwango tungehitaji kusaidia watu katika ile hali tungeweza kusaidia kwa ubora zaidi. So tuko katika mazungumzo na hawa wafadhili, tuko katika mazungumzo na serikali, tuko na mazungumzo na washikadau tofauti kujaribu kuona ni vipi tutaweza kuongeza na kuweka nguvu katika kutafuta rasilimali kufikia kile kiwango kinachohitajika. Naam.
Shukrani sana kwa hilo. Labda kidogo tujiandae tupokee simu chache upande wa pili wa studio za Radio Taifa. Unaweza kuvalia hivyo headphones tukaweza kupokea simu chache, na msikilizaji wapo una swali katika masuala ambayo tumezungumzia, au pia kama wewe una mapendekezo ama maoni ili kusaidia kudhibiti hali ilivyo kwa sasa. Kumbuka tunazungumzia masuala ya ukame hapa nchini. Inakadiriwa kwamba takriban wa Kenya milioni 2 tayari wameathirika, zaidi ya watoto 743,000 wakiwa pia wanakabiliwa na utapiamlo, ukipenda malnutrition, na pia mifugo mbalimbali wameathirika. Je, tufanyaje kama taifa? Upande wa pili wa studio, Rashid.
Hello Radio Taifa.
Hello.
Mzuri sana, swali lako.
Niko na swali. Sasa nimesikia hiyo mheshimiwa wa Red Cross anaongea maneno ya Ethiopia Island. Kuna mto ya kupita mpakani huko Ramu na kwenda Mandera. Na sasa mbona haifanyangwi mapema kabla hii shida kutokea? Because wangekuwa wameleta hiyo maji kuelekea Takaba, Wargadudu, Pandisa na hata hapa chini ingesongeshwa polepole. Sasa inakuaje? Inakuwa tu ni wakati shida imetoka ndio inaangaziwa badala ya kuzuia, because sasa hii maji inabebwa, chakula inabebwa, ikikuwa imekisha songeza hiyo shida. Haya, pale inaitwa Lakiboro, iko maji inaitwa Wasongiro inapita chini. Siwangechimba watoe maji hapo karibu na Basweri, katikati ya Wajiri na Basweri.
Asante. Hello Radio Taifa. Hello Radio Taifa.
Radio Taifa, hello. Huyo ni Yoyo Kaptumo, anasema bwana, huyo ukame imekuwa mingi bwana. Serikali asambazie watu maji bwana. Unajua maji ni uhai, watu watakufa bwana. Hiyo ni Yoyo Kaptumo.
Hello Radio Taifa. Hello Radio Taifa.
Halo, habari ya asubuhi, Rashid Mamkondo.
Mzuri sana.
Mimi nina pendekezo moja na kabisa ni swali. Hii ugatuzi maana yake ilikuwa ni pesa mashinani ili muangalie matatizo yanayowahusu zaidi mwashughulikie. La kwanza. La pili, hawa NYS kazi yao ni nini? Maanake wao ndio wastahili washughulike na vitu ambavyo ni vizito. Yangu tu ni hao kutoka Mombasa 001.
Asante. Hello Radio Taifa. Nama Dora, nadhani nirudi kwako.
Shukran Rashid Mumkondo kutoka Radio Taifa na kwa hizo hoja za wananchi, na nitakuwa pia nasoma jumbe zenu kupitia mtandao wetu wa Facebook. Nenda pale Facebook, ningependa kupata maoni yako. Tunaangazia hali ya ukame hapa nchini. Je, suluhu ni lipi kwa ukame na njaa ambao tunashuhudia mara si moja ama hata kila mwaka hapa nchini? Tunaweza tukapata suluhu la kudumu? Na studioni basi naye Bwana Peter Murgor ambaye tunasema kwa Kiingereza Disaster Risk Reduction Manager Kenya Red Cross, tukiangazia masuala haya. Bwana Murgor, umesikia baadhi ya maswali ama pia hoja ya wananchi. Moja yazo, kwanza kuna yule anasema kwamba wananchi wanaumia sana, wanataka maji. Ili tatizo la maji jamani tutalitatua vipi? Tumesema hapo mwanzo kwamba vyanzo vya maji vimekauka. Na utakuwa ni wimbo wa kila wakati, suluhu la kudumu ili tuwe angalau na maji kila mahali ni gani?
Na wasemaji ambao wamepiga simu wamegonga ndipo, na hali ndivyo hivyo. Umesikia hata mmoja akisema tafadhali leteni tu maji. Na nilipoanza kuongea nilisema rasilimali muhimu zaidi, national resource ni maji. Maji ni kila kitu. Ukitaka mimea, ukitaka afya, ukitaka kila kitu. So najua ya kwamba mambo ambayo najua ni katika hii kazi tunaposhirikiana ni kuna mikakati ya kutoa maji kwa maji, usaidizi wa dharura wa maji. Kwa Kiingereza tunasema water tracking temporarily. Hilo ni suluhisho la muda tu, lakini tunahitaji suluhisho la kudumu. So katika suluhisho la kudumu tayari kuna mazungumzo kushirikiana na serikali, na kuna nia, kuna matumaini, kwa maana kulingana na zile mazungumzo tumekuwa tukishirikiana na serikali hasa kupitia idara ya special programs. Tunaona kwamba kuna mazungumzo na kujaribu kufikiria ni vipi tutajenga mabawa, tutajenga sehemu za kuwekeza maji, tutaweza kuchukua hatua ya mapema kama vile msemaji wa kwanza alisema, ili hatuoni tu maji yakipita kila tunaanza kushtukia na ni kama hatuna mpangilio. So rasilimali kuwekezwa katika mikakati na miundo misingi ya kuwekeza maji. Na pia kama jamii, sio tu kwamba kujenga rasilimali za kuwekeza maji. Kuna njia zingine. Dora, kabla tuingie studioni ulikuwa unasema jambo muhimu sana, mazingira yetu. Miti, rotuba, michanga. Ni vipi tutashirikiana kama wananchi wote, kama kila mmoja, washikadau tofauti, kujaribu kupanda miti, kujaribu kulinda yale mazingira yanao uwezo wa kuweka maji.
Bwana Murgor, siku hizi hata tuko na siku ya kupanda miti hapa Kenya.
Tree planting day.
Badilisha hali.
Sasa unajua kuna masuala mawili. Kuna kupanda mti na kuna kukuza mti. Shida ni kwamba tunapanda mti, hatukuzi miti. Yale sehemu zilizotengewa kupandwa miti, yale sehemu zilizotengewa kuhifadhi maji, tumeachukua tunafanya mambo mengine ambayo hayafai. Kwa hivyo unapata mazingira yanapata kudhoofika, na ndipo yanachangia upotevu, maji kupotea zaidi, na pia ukame sasa kuanza kuzidi. So japo njia moja ni kwamba rasilimali yawekwe na mabawa yajengwe na miundo misingi ya kuwekeza maji yatengenezwe, pia mazingira yetu lazima sote tushirikiane kuyalinda ili apate kuweza kuwekeza maji. Kuna yale tunaita wetlands, sehemu za kuweka maji, chemichemi. Zile chemichemi unapata kuna watu wamejaribu kuzikausha ili wapate kufanya mambo mengine. Hatuhitaji kufanya hivyo. Ukiangalia kama zile mito. So ni vipi tutashirikiana? Kuna zile za kawaida, kuna zile yanahitaji kujengwa. Kuna kitu tunaita kwa Kiingereza ecosystem restoration, ama kurejesha katika hali ya kawaida ya mazingira. Ni muhimu sana kulingana. So ya kwanza ni kuwekeza rasilimali, serikali kuwekeza rasilimali kwa miundo misingi ya kuwekeza maji. Ya pili ni kulinda yale mazingira yetu na kurejesha katika hali ya kawaida, ambayo ni kila mmoja tunatakana kwa njia moja au nyingine. Na tunapopanda miti, tusipande tu miti, tuyakuze. Inamaanisha kupanda, kuangalia afya yake, kuilinda hadi yapate kuwa kubwa. Kwa hivyo tutoke tu kwa kupanda, sasa tuanze kukuza ile miti ambayo tunapanda. Mara nyingi tunapanda leo, tunaondoka, kesho hatujui imekauka ama haijakauka, inawekwa maji vipi, inalindwa vipi. Mifugo yanakuja yanayaharibu, watoto wanakuja yanayachezea, mara mengine yanakauka, manake hayajalindwa vizuri, hamna rotuba pale. So swala kuu ni sio kupanda tu miti, ni kukuza miti.
Na huwa naona kule mashinani sana sana ukielekea, wazazi wetu wanajua sana masuala ya kukuza miti, ambapo mti ukipandwa angalau inazingirwa.
Kuzingirwa.
Haiachwi tu, inazingirwa, alafu itakuwa inamwagiliwa maji labda asubuhi na jioni. Sasa hata kuna ng'ombe, mbuzi kufikia ile miti na kwa ngumu.
So vivyo vile sehemu vilivyotengwa kwa misitu, tuyaache ya kuwe misitu. Tusijaribu, unajua saizi pia kuna shida nyingine. Watu wanajaribu sana kutaka mashamba. So unapata watu wanaenda kule kulikuwa yametengwa kuwa misitu ama pa kupandwa miti, wengine wameageuza kuwa mashamba yao. So ni muhimu sana tupate tu kuheshimu zile sehemu zilizotengewa maji, sehemu zilizotengewa mazingira, tuyalinde vile, tuyakuze vile. Mwenzetu aliyetuacha Profesa Wangari Maathai alitaja kwamba mazingira usipoyalinda yatakuja na yatakuadhibu vikali sana tusipoilinda. So ni muhimu tujue hivyo. Si hivi ni kama mazingira yanatuadhibu. Maana hatujayalinda.
Kuna mmoja anaitwa Jairus Muhwana anasema, ningependa kufahamu wanasiasa wanalaumu serikali kwamba wamelifumbia jicho hili jambo la ukame, mifugo ni wengi, utawezaje kumudu kuokoa kwa ukame na binadamu utampa uji akingoja chakula? Anasema ukame ni wa Mungu na ujumbe wake najaribu kuelewa. Lakini zile lawama labda za wanasiasa, na amesema ukame unatoka kwa Mungu. Lakini kuna kitu ametaja hapo kuhusu mifugo, utawezaje kumudu kuokoa wale mifugo kwa ukame? Na hilo swali nilikuwa niulize kuhusiana na kunakuwa na muda ambao serikali inaamua kununua mifugo kutoka kwa hao wafugaji katika sehemu ambazo zimeathirika. Sijui kama mwaka huu imefanyika ama bado, ama pia wao kuja kununua kama umechelewa kiasi.
Wajua swali hili litakana kuangaliwa kwa upande mbili. Na najua again tena kupitia special programs, manake nataja sana special programs manake hivi tumekuwa na mazungumzo sana. Wamejaribu kuita naibu wa rais Profesa Kithure Kindiki ameitisha mkutano, manake ndio anasimamia kile kitengo cha kudhibiti ukame kwa upande wa serikali. Ameita washikadau, tumekuwa tukisemezana kwa karibu, na najua kuna mikakati na mipangilio ya kuwanunua wale mifugo, kwa Kiingereza tunaita offtake. Sasa mwito mkuu tunaweza fanya kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu. Wajua Dora, kawaida kuna njia tofauti za kudhibiti majanga. Kule ngambo si ati kwamba hawana majanga, lakini wale walinda mifugo walio na mifugo huwa kawaida yao wakipata ile utabiri wa hali ya hewa wanaanza kuuza mifugo, wanapata kwa bei nzuri kabla mifugo yaanze kuzorota. Pia ule uzito wa kutaka kulisha mifugo unapungua. Lakini sasa tuko vipi kama nchi? Tabia ni kwamba wale ambao wana mifugo wanashikilia sana, hawataki kuuza mifugo hadi dakika ya mwisho ambapo yameanza kudhoofika, afya yao imeharibika, haina hata bei, imeenda chini sana, ndipo watu wanaanza kuachilia mifugo ama labda yamekufa. So kwa upande mmoja serikali inaanza kuweka mikakati na tunajaribu sana kushirikiana nao kama washikadau. Tumekuwa tukipigia debe sana kipaumbele kwamba tuweze kuuza mifugo kama njia ya kudhibiti majanga as a risk reduction measure, ili tukipata utabiri kwamba hali itakuwa mbaya tusingoje hadi hali ya mifugo idhoofike zaidi, ila tuanze kuuza kwa mapema. Na najua kwamba Kenya Meat Commission ilirejeshwa kwa hali yake ya kawaida, na moja ya malengo yao tuliona ni kwamba wanataka sana wakuwe wakiweza kununua mifugo kutoka kwa wananchi. Na najua katika mwaka wa 2023 2024 manake shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu tulishirikiana na serikali kujaribu kununua mifugo zilizo katika hali mbaya kwa hizi sehemu. So najua kwamba kuna mikakati yamewekwa na maybe serikali hivi karibuni watatoa ratiba ya kufanya hiyo shughuli.
Naam. Kigen Kevin anasema a great leader there talking a lot of sense. Anasema that live coverage is good, tunafuatilia, asante sana. Alafu yupo Benteza ambaye anasema nafuatilia kwa karibu, suluhu ni kuhifadhi vyanzo vya maji na pia kufanya kilimo. Hapo
ndipo kabisa. Nashukuru sana manake wale wasikizaji pia wajua sote tuna suluhisho, sote tunajua, na tunataka tuwape hongera wale wa Kenya ambao wanazingatia mikakati haya. Waona kama sasa hawa ambao wameongea wanatoa suluhisho na wako kipaumbele kujaribu wao wenyewe kuyalinda vile viunzi na zile sehemu ambazo zimetengwa kwa tabia hiyo. Hebu jiulize swali moja, kama kila Mkenya angechukua shughuli ya kuhakikisha yale mazingira yake yako salama, kuna miti angalau, kuna sehemu bora za kuhifadhi mazingira, tutapata janga la ukame litaanza kupungua sana katika nchi yetu.
Naam. Na kwa sababu pia tumezungumzia vyanzo vya maji na wengi wanazungumzia swala hilo, kuna hili swala la ukulima. Labda vipi kama taifa, maana tunapozungumzia hizo kaunti kama 23 ambazo umetaja, zipo sehemu ambazo watu wanaumia tu, hakuna chakula kwa shamba. Labda kuna wale walipanda katika awamu ya pili ya labda Septemba, Disemba, mahindi yakakauka kwa sababu hakukuwa na mvua, wanategemea mvua. Sijui himizo lako ni lipi kwamba sisi kama taifa, kama tutaweza kufika mahali ambapo hatutakuwa tunategemea sana mvua, lakini pia tutaweza labda kuangazia masuala ya kunyunyuzia mashamba yetu maji. Najua sehemu ambazo tutakuta zimekauka, nenda sehemu labda kama Marigat tutakuta hamna mvua kwa sana, lakini kule utakuta kwamba wanapanda vitu kama tikiti maji, watermelon, lakini wanyunyuzia tu maji. Tufanyaje kama taifa, labda kama tunaweza kuelekea upande wa kunyunyuzia mashamba yetu maji? Sijui kama itasaidia kwa vyovyote.
Itasaidia pakubwa, na mojawapo ya miundo misingi ya kukabiliana na ukame ni kukuwa na miundo ya kunyunyizia mimea maji, lakini inahitaji rasilimali pia. Inahitaji rasilimali na pia inahitaji mabadiliko ya tabia. Sisi kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu tuna picha na taswira hapo awali ambapo tulishirikiana na jamii moja katika kaunti za majanga kujaribu kutengeneza mikakati ya kunyunyiza maji. Cha kusikitisha Dora ni kwamba wale jamii walikuwa kipaumbele kuyaharibu yale miundo misingi, kukata zile mapipe, kuondoa zile vitu ambazo zilikuwa zimewekezwa na rasilimali zote. Na ni kwa nini nimelitaja hilo? Ni kuonesha kwamba sio tu kusema kwamba njooni mweke miundo misingi. Baada ya kuweka miundo misingi kama jamii, ni vipi tunafanya kuyalinda yale miundo misingi ambayo yamewekwa pale kunyunyizia mimea maji? Ya kwanza. Ya pili, ni vipi kwamba tutachukulia kilimo kwa ule uzito ambao unafaa? Na cha tatu, ni vipi tutaweza kuwapa moyo wale ambao watu wanaofanya ukulima? Lazima tuangalie kwa picha kubwa zaidi na kwa mviringo, ili tupate kuona masala ni yapi ambayo yanaweza kuathiri ukulima. So kuna wale ambao wanaona kwamba nitafanya ukulima lakini hata hali ya uchumi haitaniwezesha. So wanahitaji wapewe moyo ili wapate kuona kwamba wananufaika na kufanya mambo ya ukulima. Sehemu zile ambazo zina uwezo wa kuzaa mimea lakini hayana maji, yawekewe miundo misingi ya kunyunyizia maji. Tukichukua mikakati kama hayo, tukiendelea kwa umanani, na baada ya miundo misingi hayo kujengwa, jamii wawe kipaumbele kuchukulia yale miundo misingi maanani na kuyalinda, miaka chache zijazo tutaanza kuona kwamba tunapiga hatua kubwa sana kukabiliana na ukame, na kwamba japo ukame utakuja ama japo hali ya anga itadhoofika kama kutakuwa na mvua, lakini chakula kitakuwepo, maji yatakuwepo. Naam.
Tukielekea kutamatisha, mambo mawili kutoka kwako, labda kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu mnakuwa katika mstari wa mbele ndio kupambana na majanga, vile ulisema mwanzoni, si mambo tu na first aid kama vile wengi wanavyodhani. Kwa sasa changamoto yenu kuu ni ipi, na labda wito wenu kwa wananchi, washikadau, wafadhili ni upi, ili kuhakikisha kwamba tunapambana na kukabili janga hili la ukame?
Changa letu kuu kwa sasa ni rasilimali ya kutuwezesha kuyatimiza yale mikakati ambayo tunajua tunahitaji kutimiza. Kwa mfano kwa utapiamlo, si kwamba hatujui tutafanya nini, tunajua tunachohitaji kufanya, lakini rasilimali ya kutuwezesha kufika kule. Kwa mfano kuchukua vile vyakula kama plumbing nuts na commodities za utapiamlo, kuchukua kutoka sehemu moja hadi nyingine, yanachukua rasilimali. Kupeleka vyakula ama hata kutuma hela kuwasaidia wale watu inachukua rasilimali. Changamoto letu kuu kwa sasa ni rasilimali, ambapo kumekuwa na upungufu wa rasilimali. Tunaelewa kwa vizuri sana na tunajua zile sehemu zinahitaji kusaidiwa, lakini rasilimali za kufika pale. Mwito wetu kuu kwa Wakenya kwa jumla na washikadau ni kwamba swala hili si la mtu mmoja, si la serikali peke yake, si la mashirika ya kijamii peke yake, si ya jamii peke yake, ni la kila mtu. Na sote tuna majukumu tunahitajika kufanya. La kwanza kabisa ni kuchukua majukumu kuyalinda zile sehemu zimetengewa mazingira, kama ni uwekezaji wa maji, kama ni kupanda miti, kama ni zile misitu, kama ni ukulima, sote tuchukue hatua. Wale washikadau tunashirikiana na serikali kwa karibu sana kujaribu kusemezana na wao ni vipi tutachukua hatua ya mapema. Tumeshirikiana kwa ukaribu kama vile nilikueleza, kuna kongamano linaendelea hivi sasa na rejea kule, na limeitwa na idara ya hali ya utabiri wa hali ya anga. Sote tuchukue majukumu, na tunapopata tahadhari, tafadhali tuchukue tahadhari maanani. Tukubali kubadilisha tabia yetu, tuchukue mitindo ambayo atatusaidia kupunguza athari zinazotokana na majanga.
Naamini ya kwamba pia mnashirikiana na washikadau mbalimbali, labda kama NDMA,
National Drought Management Authority, Rwanda Special Programs. Manake nilipotaja special programs nimetaja tu kwa ukubwa, lakini National Drought Management Authority ambao tunashirikiana kwa karibu sana, na hata lile tathmini la mvua fupi OND ambao nilikuwa nataja hapo awali linaendeshwa na National Drought Management Authority. Kuna National Disaster Operations Center, kuna shirika za kimataifa kama World Food Program, kuna UNICEF, kuna UNDP, kuna zile shirika za kijamii ama CBOs, NGOs, wengi tunashirikiana nao.
Na hata county wana bajeti ya kudhibiti masuala ya majanga.
Serikali, napotaja serikali ni serikali kuu na serikali za county. Na acha niseme kwamba makaunti mengi wamekuwa magavana, maseneta na idara zao za kudhibiti majanga wamekuwa pia wakijaribu kukua na kusemezana kwa karibu, kujaribu kuchukua hatua na mikakati polepole yanaanza kuingia pale yanahitaji kuingia. Kuna kazi kubwa tunahitaji kufanya, lakini tunaona tunaanza kuingia pale.
Natumai hapo ni mahali pazuri pa kukamilisha, sio?
Shukran Dora. Tungesema sana swala hili ni nzuri kusikiza, na ninapenda sana wakati tunasikia feedback kutoka kwa wananchi, lakini tunashukuru sana kwa fursa hii ambapo tumeweza kusemezana kwa hali ilivyo nchini.
Asante. Na shukrani pia kuweza kufika.
Asante.
Mtazamaji na msikilizaji, tunafika kikomo kwa kipindi cha leo. Shukrani sana Bwana Peter Murgor ambaye ni meneja anayeshughulikia masuala ya kupunguza na hata kudhibiti athari za majanga katika shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu hapa nchini Kenya, Red Cross. Asante sana kufika.
Asante.
Kwa wewe mtazamaji, asante kufuatilia, sawa na msikilizaji. Kwa watayarishi pia wa kipindi hiki, Nancy Kemunto, Dennis Chisaka, wapiga picha, waelekezi upande wa pili, yote nasema asante sana kwa kutenga muda kuhakikisha kwamba basi tutakuwa na kipindi hiki kinaweza kufanyika ilivyo kwa sasa. Hadi wakati mwingine, shukran, na mjadala huu unaweza kuendelea katika mitandao ili tuone ni vipi kama taifa tutasaidiana na kuwakumbuka wenzetu ambao wameathirika na hali ya ukame hapa nchini. Nimekuwa wako Dora Manya, tupatane upande wa pili wa studio. Shukran.
Kutoka Nairobi,
Welcome back to Semana Spokes, Bonga na Gava.
Semana Spokes is your platform to query the government, get answers, and understand what is being done in your country and across the nation. It's your time to ask, participate, and be informed. Don't miss Bonga na Gava every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1.
Of the show with Nairobi Fashion Week, a platform that creativity meets heritage.
And yet, even without a recent edition, Koroga still lives on. In the way we plan events, in the way the audiences show up, and the way Kenyan music and African talent are celebrated today.
Tonight we feature the one and only. He's a singer, songwriter, and of course, a performing artist. I'm talking about none other than Charisma.
Kuna trust issues, kila siku unanishuku. You disrespect my lover. Remember my guy. Tonight I don't want no drama.
Prostate cancer remains as one of the leading cancers amongst men and is responsible for taking many lives and leaving scores of survivors.
The doctor opened it. I was looking at him. Then I saw his face change a bit. But for us laymen, the word cancer spells doom. Word cancer is death.
Being physically active, avoiding obesity, good diet, mainly red meat also linked to the onset of aggressive forms of prostate cancer, so reducing the red meat intake.
We went to India, he had the cyber knife, and that is the time, from that time, we had been close even before.
Yeah.
But I think this brought us even closer.
All treatment options are available locally, okay? Yeah. So there is no need for the patients to travel abroad for the treatment also.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Good Morning Kenya, and right now we talk matters health, and we'll be looking at hypertension and diabetes. What do these two have in relation? How do they correlate? How do we get to know when you have either of these two? What are the causes? How can you be able to prevent that? All of those questions will be answered right here on the show. As I have with me Dr. Florence Kelly. Dr. Florence is a consultant physician and an endocrinologist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on board today. May we first begin by just defining these two conditions. Let's begin with diabetes and then we go to hypertension.
So diabetes is a condition where the blood sugar is high. And what do we mean by a high blood sugar? Is a status or a situation whereby you go get a test. You can do it at home, you can do it at the clinic. The test can be done while you are being treated. It can be done anywhere, anytime. So it's a blood sugar of more than 7.8. To make it easy, is a blood sugar of more than 8 at any one point. Yes.
All right, and the hypertension?
Hypertension is when a condition when your blood pressure is increased. That is a blood pressure of more than 140/90. Usually you look at the two figures all the time. The blood pressure is read as two readings, not like the upper one, the lower one. They must go in sync. Sometimes one of the two entities, the upper one may be up, the lower one may be up. That is still hypertension. It just depends on the scenario and must be treated.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so for hypertension, it's blood pressure.
Yes.
And then for diabetes, it's all about your blood sugars.
Yes.
Well understood.
Yeah.
So now, how do these two correlate? And can one have one and not have the other, or do they always have to? If you have one, you definitely, is it a guarantee that if you have hypertension, then you have a higher chance of getting diabetes as well, and the other way around?
The two are correlated sometimes and not, because diabetes, there is a whole range of diabetes. You can have diabetes because you are overweight, you are of advanced age, and you meet certain criteria. You can have diabetes because you are the organ that produces the hormone that corrects blood sugar is not working properly, and that is another type of diabetes. So that's why I'm saying sometimes it correlates, may not correlate. You can have diabetes when you are pregnant. You can have diabetes because you are born of low weight. That is malnutrition when you are in your mother's stomach. Let me use stomach for the audience. In your mother's tummy, you can have diabetes. There are so many types of diabetes that we count from 1 to 5. And so it may or may not correlate. So if you have diabetes because you are overweight, you have something we call metabolic syndrome. The way you are metabolizing, the way you are breaking down the nutrients that you are taking is abnormal because you are taking them in excess. So there is a very high chance that your blood pressure, if it is not elevated at the moment, it will go up at one time. So you see, it may or may not correlate. Yes.
So it's not guaranteed that if you have one, then you have a higher chance of getting the other. They don't always correlate.
Yes.
They may correlate, yes, but they don't always correlate.
Yes.
There's a question I've had 2 ladies asking me, you know, on matters blood pressure and pregnancy.
Yes.
And how do the two come about? You know, you have a lady who's always been healthy, never had hypertension ever, and then now when she gets pregnant, she gets the hypertension. How does this happen?
So when one has someone growing in their stomach, that is in the mother's body, there are very many things that get adjusted because you are supporting another life or even more than one life. So what happens is that the body reacts to products that are being produced from the placenta, and then the blood pressure goes up, and that must be treated to prevent the mother and the baby from getting into worse conditions. You know, organ failure of the mother and the baby dying or being born of low weight. Yes.
So when a mother gets hypertension during pregnancy, is this just a condition she has because of her pregnancy, and does this mean that after she gets to deliver her baby, then the hypertension is no longer there?
So usually it might be something that has been lacking. Usually we refer hypertension as a silent killer because it doesn't ache. You cannot say that my blood pressure is aching. It is there, but it doesn't have a symptom. So in most cases, it's found when you go for treatment, even for headache, for a flu. Usually there is a red herring, you know. There is something that made you to have the blood pressure checked. You went for a medical camp, you are in a place whereby you checked your blood pressure. Then you realize what? It is more than 140, 90. So when a mother conceives, it means that there is this condition that has triggered the blood pressure to go up. But it may be also before she got pregnant or conceived the baby, she might have been having high blood pressure. Those are two different conditions. If the blood pressure was due to the pregnancy, then it will resolve over time. And it's not immediately after the baby is born. Sometimes even just during the puerperium, the time when the baby has been born, when we have the infant, when we refer the baby as an infant, the blood pressure can actually be up. It can even rise up because you are in the puerperium period, when you have the infant. Then it will abate, it will go down over time. So it is advised, if you are found to have any of those conditions, either diabetes or hypertension, get followed for 1 year so that the doctor discharges you from the condition. And we know that truly so-and-so was having this condition in pregnancy, but it resolved. And sometimes it may not resolve. The diabetes may not resolve. The hypertension may not resolve. So it's best to be followed for a time, 1 year, so that you can be discharged from the condition.
All right. Can we talk about the early signs of both conditions?
Yes.
Can I be able to tell that I may be having this or that? Because you mentioned with hypertension, you might not know until you go for a checkup.
Yes.
So what are some early signs for diabetes and for hypertension?
So the earliest and cardinal sign that can make us think that you have diabetes is when you are of excess weight. That is for type 2 diabetes. okay? And for type 2 diabetes, you have to qualify. There are many other things that we'll check, and then we ascertain that you are having type 2 diabetes. So when you are overweight, your blood sugar is more than 7.8. When you take your meals, if the blood sugar lacks above 8, 10, 14 over several days, or when we give you a glucose challenge, whereby we give you a lot of glucose and we monitor you at intervals of 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and we find that your blood sugar is persistently more than 8, then you have diabetes, and that is likely to be type 2 diabetes. What are the symptoms of type 2 diabetes? You will be taking excess of water. That is when it is very, very bad. You will be passing a lot of urine and you lose weight. Yeah, that means that your metabolism is wrong. For the other types of diabetes, there is usually something that will precipitate or trigger. So that is another scenario altogether. For blood pressure, the cardinal sign for blood pressure is just a headache. If you are having the other symptoms, such as passing inadequate amount of urine, maybe your heartbeat, you feel like your heartbeat is too quick, you're getting too tired, it means we are beginning to have complications. But the earliest sign is a headache.
A headache.
Yeah.
How can you tell if a baby may have diabetes? You know, for the symptoms that you've mentioned, it takes one to really, you realize that, okay, I think I'm taking excess water. Okay, my head is aching. But for a child who can't tell you, how do you get to know?
So at least nature is kind to us in a way. If you have type 2 diabetes, you are likely to be of advanced age, more than 45 years. And that's why we advise that when you get to 45 years, 40s, have a check. It can be simple. Just get an annual blood sugar, or every 6 months check, and if there's a family history. If it is a baby, then the baby cannot be overweight. The baby was born with the right weight. Unless the mother is not doing what they are being told at the clinic, feed your baby up to this level, or you are not giving extra food, the baby will not have type 2 diabetes. But you can have a familial form of type 2 diabetes, which doesn't respond to insulin in this case, and that's a whole subject. It is many types of the subsets are so many for that kind of familial diabetes, whereby the parents will note a symptom, and the earliest symptom that they usually note is that the baby's diapers are excessively wet. I'm changing them too frequently. Yeah, so that's why I say nature is kind, because you kind of know if it is this age, it's likely to be this side. If it is an older person, it's likely to be type 2. Even a newborn can be born with diabetes. Yeah, especially the familial type of diabetes, and the mother will just tell you, this child keeps on feeding and is passing too much urine. Yes, or is not gaining weight.
All right.
Yeah.
That was for diabetes. For hypertension, can you tell?
For hypertension, for the baby is a bit is difficult, but an adult you can tell, because whenever we go to be treated, we'll have our what we call the vitals, the most necessary measurements to be assessed. Even if you don't get to complete your treatment, we'll be knowing your blood pressure is this, and our healthcare provider will caution you and tell you, you can't go home. You need to check this. Even if you don't still accept, you'll be knowing at the back of your mind that my blood pressure was high. For the babies, we do check the vitals. If the blood pressure is beyond certain limits, it will be treated. But in most cases, you will not find it normally that the newborn's blood pressure is being taken. Nature is kind. A child will not just have hypertension unless there is a background problem like a kidney infection. And once we note, you pick the kidney infection, you be very particular with knowing, is the blood pressure of this baby, this child, this teenager normal? Yes.
What are the risk factors for hypertension? I think you've touched a bit on diabetes.
Yes.
What of hypertension?
So hypertension has got modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors. So it has been established that being of this race, unfortunately black race, being an African, is a risk factor, advancing age, and a family history. Those ones you can't modify. You are born in that family. So the genetics and the risk factors in that family. The modifiable risk factors are lifestyle mainly. Are you having excess weight? Are you living a sedentary lifestyle whereby you never move, you just swing around your chair and walk to the parking lot and off you go home? You don't really have activity. Okay, sedentary lifestyle. It's about a lifestyle. So you find that some certain people, when you adjust the lifestyle, take less of nutrients, exercise, lose 5% of your weight, your blood pressure will go away. That is if you don't have the other risk factors. And even if you have the other risk factors of being born black, family history, still the lifestyle change is a mandatory intervention. It must happen because it is an established way of managing all the diseases beyond diabetes and hypertension. Yes.
So diabetes and hypertension are not chronic, or are they chronic?
They are chronic.
Okay.
They are chronic.
So you'll need to be on medication for the rest of your life?
Yes, depending on the type of diabetes that you have and whether the adjustment has happened. It depends on the type of diabetes. If you have type 1, which is because the insulin is not, the pancreas is not producing enough of the hormone, then you have to be given the hormone over time. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How common is diabetes and how common is hypertension, specifically in the country? Maybe if you try compare it to, say, 20, 30 years ago, how common is it now?
It is common. It is common nowadays.
More common than back then?
Yes, it's common, especially type 2 diabetes. It's very common. In fact, you can have a random blood sugar taken and you find that I have diabetes, I have hypertension because of the lifestyle. Remember I said lifestyle is an intervention for all the diseases. So you can find that because of the lifestyle we lead. Remember our parents, our foreparents, they walked like from Machakos to Nairobi. They went far, they went gathering and hunting. That was an intervention by itself. Even the foods we take, they trigger. The environment has got triggers, so the sedentary lifestyle and certain foods can trigger if they are taken in excess. So you can prevent diabetes from taking the adjustment, and if you don't do it, it will become chronic. Yeah.
So it's more common now mainly because of the lifestyle that
yes,
we are.
Type 2 diabetes is very common, especially among adults. Yes.
So you need to move more.
Yes.
Move as much as we
Just
can.
keep moving. You know those things that I think there are some certain adverts of certain products, I forget which ones, which say keep moving. If you move, it's better. It's when you rest for too long, you may think that you are resting your body, but you're bringing it down. Even the joints suffer. They complain that we were created to move. We are not moving. Yeah.
So when you look at prevention,
yes,
the first way of prevention or of preventing these conditions is just by you ensuring that you are moving your body, like exercise and all of that. Like just watch your lifestyle. Is that one of the ways of preventing?
Yes, but one of the ways of preventing hypertension, at least. One of the ways of preventing type 2 diabetes, because it emanates from altered metabolism, the way you break down the nutrients, and whether when you take these nutrients, are you making use of the energy that is being produced? Are you exercising? Yeah.
And also what you're eating.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. At what age should we now start paying attention to our blood pressure
our blood sugar? At what age should we start paying attention to that, and how often should I be going to check?
It is very prudent for one to do annual checks, especially when they get to the 40s.
Okay.
At 45, you should have started checking your blood sugar, your blood pressure. Have a simple annual check. And if you have a family history of a chronic disease, let me just diverge a bit from hypertension and diabetes. Make sure you check it, because it means that there is a genetic alteration and that puts you at risk. So go and check, have that specific test so that whatever it is can be managed at the early stages. So at 45, blood sugar, blood pressure checks. Yeah, for type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
For the other types of diabetes, it will be found because there will be a symptom. For the women, because the two conditions can occur in pregnancy, hypertension and diabetes, attend the antenatal clinics. Right now, we are advocating for assessment even before you conceive. Because when you go into pregnancy, when you are healthy, it means that the outcome will be perfect, because we'll have established what an underlying problem could be, what you may be having as an underlying problem even before you conceive. And if you don't get assessed before you conceive, because some of these things are natural. Now I'm talking about a robotic human being, but in a natural setup whereby someone woke up, drove, had an accident, another one was bitten by a snake, you know, that kind of lifestyle. There was a spider that scared a woman. In that setup, a natural setup, is that once you realize I am truly pregnant, go for your first assessment. Yeah.
Go get things checked.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that maybe we don't have a culture of. I don't know if it's right for me to use that word culture in this, because I feel like we only usually just go to hospital when we are unwell. We don't have that culture of, let me go for my annual checkups. Rarely do we do that. There are people who are committed to doing that, but I think the majority of us do not do that. You know, with going with the saying, what you don't know won't hurt you. How hurtful is that to our bodies?
I know our culture usually, and most a human being, you don't want to be told bad news. So you refrain from knowing the bad news. But the thing that we need to remind ourselves is this: when it comes to medical conditions, when they are found at the earliest, at the beginning, it is very easy to manage them. Okay, the medications or the intervention to be used will be very minimum. So, for example, if it is high blood pressure, you find that you will need minimal dosages for management of the blood pressure, and even for the diabetes, even if you use insulin. You know, the thing we have to learn that when the intervention is brought in early, it is safer. If it is type 2 diabetes, we catch it early, we get aggressive, we hit it hard at the beginning, and then we taper, we remove what needs to be removed because you improve. Even for type 1 diabetes, we are even getting to a point where we are precise. You know, now it's about precision. You're not just going to the forest and say that I'm going to look for oranges or apples. A forest is in Ukambani, and you say you're going to look for apples, you won't find. It is too hot to support an apple. So likewise for type 1 diabetes, whereby we want this person to live a normal but adjusted life. What does that mean? We want to weigh the carbohydrates that they are taking against the insulin that we are giving. Okay? In our setup, because maybe we are resource limited. But we are also advocating for something we call a continuous glucose monitor. Why? The patient goes home. is not with the doctor. They will be managing themselves. So we want to check that, we want to have a gadget that communicates with the doctor, with the mother, father, and with the patient, and they know that at 9 p.m. my blood sugar is this, 9:15, 9:30, that's continuous. And eventually we will get to a pump whereby we give insulin. You and me have got insulin that is working on what we took in the morning, okay? The right amount of insulin the body is giving, because we are not type 1. But for type 1, we want to give them a pump. And maybe in the future, we also want to give them a transplant, whereby now it is generated from the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens when diabetes and hypertension are poorly controlled over time, or you don't get checked over time?
Okay, that is a very important question. Now, when those two diseases are not controlled or they are ignored, they take a natural history. What is a natural history? Both of them, and especially diabetes, because it is metabolic type 2 diabetes, okay? And whatever type of diabetes, when the sugar is sustained high in someone, they will begin having organ failure. And there are many organs that can fail. I will start from the head to the toe. So this person is at risk of a stroke, dementia, Parkinson movement disorders, whereby you just keep on shaking as you age, and then you can lose your eyesight, you can bleed into the eye, you can have a heart attack, you can have kidney failure, and for the men, they will have erectile dysfunction. And it becomes a very real problem because the wife or the sex partners, something that we never discuss, they will be complaining. Okay? For hypertension, is a similar pattern, but maybe a rapid pattern because the blood pressure is high and the organs that are vital are not getting the supply in a normal fashion. So you can have a stroke, you can get a heart attack again, and kidney failure. For diabetes, you can also end up having prolonged wounds whereby the wound takes more than a year, 2 years to heal. You can also have your legs and limbs cut off because the blood supply gets compromised due to a sustained high blood sugar.
Wow. So it can be really a lot if you don't get it controlled, you know, early, or if you don't get it checked as it should be.
Yes, and then for the women, when they have diabetes in pregnancy, the baby can be born abnormal, too big. During delivery, you are likely to have complications whereby the shoulders will have abnormalities. There will be, because of the maneuvering, as the baby is delivered, the baby can be born with high blood sugars and is not thriving after delivery. They also face a risk of being diabetic when they grow old. The baby can also die. Actually, that's the commonest, because the baby will, I keep on having stillbirths. My baby has died in my tummy, those kind of complications. And then also the mother, when the blood sugar is high, all the complications that can occur in a diabetes patient can occur in them, the ones I've just said. If the blood pressure is high, that one moves very rapidly because you hear, I'm sure you have heard of these terms of eclampsia, preeclampsia, whereby your blood pressure is high and your body starts reacting. Your liver is failing, you can have a stroke, you can have kidney failure, and I've seen people who have developed kidney failure because their blood pressure was poorly managed during pregnancy. That's a very expensive venture. Yeah, lifetime condition just because we didn't give you a pill. Yeah.
Wow, okay. So for someone who has these conditions, or either of the conditions, of course, there's hope. You know, when you mention all that, it can be really scary. But of course, there's hope. So let's get into the options available when it comes to treatment.
Yeah.
So we are at a very good time for all the diseases, actually, because a lot has been discovered. Let me start with blood pressure. So for management of blood pressure, as I said earlier, when we start treating early, we advise you on lifestyle adjustment, move more, take less nutrients. If you take more nutrients, make sure that you make use of them. You can run, you can exercise, as directed by your doctor, what is suitable for you. And then there are many drugs that we use to manage blood pressure.
Yeah.
We cannot even exhaust, we can't. There's too many options that are good, and the advantage about these medications is that the major regulatory bodies have said that whenever a new medicine is being developed for hypertension, diabetes, it must have another advantage. What is the other advantage? It should improve the heart and circulatory system. So the medications we have are good, they're enough, and they're available in our country for management of blood pressure. Now it gets more exciting when it comes to management of type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, I've told you, we are now advancing towards even getting insulin pumps. We have patients in the country who have got an insulin pump, and you are just comfortable. You can conduct an interview with me, and you have your pump, or you have your glucose, continuous glucose monitor, or you've been taught by your doctor how to check your blood sugar. You check it before, you check it after your meals, and you're able to correct and adjust the insulin accordingly. So it's a very good time right now for type 1 diabetes. For type 2 diabetes, that is even better, although the drugs now are being used for other things. So for type 2 diabetes, the regulatory bodies also say that for any new medication, it must have another advantage, especially weight loss, heart, and all those. So that's why we have the drugs that are being used for weight loss. Those medications, let me emphasize and look at the audience. Those medications are supposed to be used for management of type 2 diabetes. But if you are overweight and you are at risk of developing the metabolic diseases, that is the type 2 diabetes and hypertension, then you are allowed to use them so that we mitigate. But the best treatment for weight is lifestyle adjustment. So for type 2 diabetes, we also have very many good types of drugs that will amend the status of high blood sugar, and you can live longer. And the complications I talked about, your doctor should be able to tell you that. I would want you, when you are diagnosed, actually immediately you are diagnosed for type 2 diabetes, have your eyes checked, let's check your kidneys, and let's check your heart. What is the status of your heart? And in your lifetime or subsequently, at least when you have diabetes for so long, type 2 diabetes, then you should have an echo. An echo is just an ultrasound of the heart. Make sure that it's not enlarging, it's not getting out of the normal. So the options are very, very many and good and doable and available in the country. Yes.
So as much as, you stated at the beginning that we have more cases of diabetes and hypertension now compared to, say, 30 years ago, you also agree to the fact that managing these conditions is way easier now due to the advancement in technology.
Yes. And just the precision that I talked about, because right now we know that if you lose 5% of your baseline weight, you are 90 kilos, and then you go off with 5%, I know that your blood sugar is going to improve, the blood pressure is also going to improve. And if you lose 10%, I also know that there will be further improvement and reduction of medication. Some people may go off medication, but you must maintain. If you lost 10%, maintain the 10% weight loss. At 25% weight loss, you revert back to normal. It is a long journey of losing 25% of the weight. You can achieve it with the drugs that are being used for weight loss, and you can also lose 25% of weight by a surgical intervention. Now, those two interventions, we usually leave them for the last, those are the last options because they are not cheap. Surgery is not cheap. The medications for weight loss are not cheap. Yeah. And one aspect that is usually forgotten, what led you to be of excess weight? The psychosocial factor, the psychology, what made you to partake of excess nutrients? Why don't you move? Do you have arthritis? Do you work in a place whereby you leave at night and come very early? Do you work in a place which does not support exercise during the day or some part of the day? Yeah. All those factors must be considered. Are you going to maintain the weight, the 25% weight loss that will occur after the surgical intervention? It must be factored in, and you must have the psychologist working with you, dietitian working with you, so that you maintain that. Okay. Yes.
What is the role of sleep when it comes to blood pressure and blood sugar, diabetes? Is that
very important question? Sleep is part of lifestyle. If you are not, and I'm not talking about the employers who cause people to work or you work at night. If you are working at night, you must find a way of achieving 7 hours, at least 7 hours of sleep in 24 hours.
At least 7.
7 hours of sleep. And it's not in the light or with the TV on, you are scrolling on your mobile. There is a master gland, and the brain, they don't like when there is a clock in the brain that doesn't work very well with the lights. So if you are going to sleep in the day, make sure that it's dark, so that the hormones that are produced in the night will be produced. A complicated thing, but it contributes to those two diseases.
I feel like it's a whole other conversation on that, because now I feel like I have so many questions when it comes to that. There's particular, like, the room needs to be dark.
Yeah, it needs to be dark because there is a hormone that we produce at midnight called cortisol. So cortisol was meant to be produced when it's dark, okay? Yeah. So it will go very high in the night, and cortisol is very important because it controls metabolism. It also protects us from infections.
So for people who work during the night and get to maybe rest during the day, there's something you're missing simply because there's light. I don't know if I'm asking the proper question, but this is new news to me. So there's something I'm missing when I'm sleeping during the day and not at night, because now clearly you're not sleeping in a dark place because it's during the day. And I'm sure for most people there's still light that is coming in. In fact, you've even drawn your windows, your curtains.
Yeah, it's true. So when you don't sleep, when you lack sleep, okay, what are the right words? If you don't sleep at night, if you are working, the biological clock is altered. Yeah, because you're not the cortisol is not being produced. It may be produced in excess, which is not also nice. It controls metabolism. When it is in excess, gain a lot of weight, which will lead you to have diabetes and hypertension. There is also melatonin, which is poorly understood but is very important. It gives us sleep and calmness, such that when you wake up in the morning, you're not jittery over very small things. That is just one part of it. So it's produced also in the night, and it's also part of controlling weight. It has been established that when you have bright amounts of melatonin being produced, it controls the brain functionality. You are stable, and even as you age, you are at risk of lesser diseases of the neuron, that is diseases of the brain.
All right. Yeah. So for all of us or everyone who's quite busy and maybe they happen to just get 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep, even if it's at night, you would advise that you try and get at least 7, because there's something it's doing for your body.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. 7 hours. And also for the people who sleep too much, you will also get diabetes. You are at risk. Yeah. In 79 hours.
Wow.
Is okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's new news to me, and I'm sure it is for many people. So thank you for sharing that. As we almost come to a close of our conversation, maybe what would you say is a mistake that most patients, and these are diabetes and hypertension patients, what are some of the common mistakes that maybe you may point out that they make when it comes to managing these two conditions?
So the mistake number one is denial, which also I understand, and that's why we have the psychologists, the need for a psychologist to just stand with our patients and explain to them, in as much as this has been found, hypertension or diabetes, it doesn't sign you to death. You just need to take the right action. So over time or immediately, or with the support of the healthcare providers, accept the condition, because it becomes much easier to manage. Now, once you accept and you follow what your interventionist is saying, are you supposed to be taking your medications at what time? Okay, take them, because if you are faithful, they will be adjusted downwards depending on what is happening, or upwards, just to make to get optimal control. So adherence, accept, adhere to treatment, and follow up with your clinics. If there is an extra examination to be conducted, accept, because I believe that the providers will not be taking advantage financially, and there is room for postponement, but not to another year. Let's say I have sent you as a diabetes patient to have your eyes checked. I will give you a timeline. Within 6 weeks or before the next appointment of 1 month, 6 weeks, 2 months, just put an effort and have your eyes checked. And for the audience's information, we have good centers that are affordable and you can plan for eye checkup. Like we have CTI, we have Kenyatta Hospital, we have Kikuyu Hospital, we have Lions, we have places where your eyes can be checked. And I'm very passionate about eyes being checked, because I can't imagine you are born seeing and then you are dying when you are not seeing. How now, surely? Yeah. Yes.
All right. If there's one thing you would love our viewers to take from our conversation, what would it be?
I would want people, when they get to their 45th year, honor yourself. Celebrate that birthday by going for a medical checkup. And whatever is found, have it managed. If your family has a certain history, at the earliest, go and have it checked, because if it is even a cancer, we will just remove it where it is, you know, at that point. We'll just get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the women, let's learn the habit of being healthy even before we conceive. And the day you find that I conceived, go and have a check. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for shedding light on matters diabetes and hypertension. It was really, really a pleasure to get to host you on the show. Thank you for coming.
Karibu sana, and you are welcome to Metropolitan. We are going to be having Metropolitan Hospital. We'll be having a medical camp whereby you can come and we check your blood sugar, we check your blood pressure on the 28th of February. And you know, when you come in to the healthcare providers, we don't just see the two, we will see beyond, because we have been trained that we'll tell you that maybe you also need to do this. Yeah.
All right, on the 28th at Metropolitan Hospital.
Yes.
All right, there you have it. And this is where we get to end this conversation. We always have such conversations every Tuesday. We talk matters health, and it is always very, very informative. So you can tell another person who's never tuned in at this point or at this time on KBC that they are missing quite a lot. We get to learn a lot. So yeah, we do this again tomorrow, same time. And please, my name is Vivian Dagwa. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye.
Looking to advertise on KBC? KBC announcement services are now available on eCitizen. Visit kbc.ecitizen.go.ke and fill out the online application form. It's simple. 1. Complete the form. 2. Upload required documents. 3. Receive a quotation based on word count. And 4. Get notified via SMS when your announcement is ready. Please note, clearly indicate the type of announcement, service station, and all relevant details. 2. All applications must be made online only. Manual submissions will not be accepted. And 3. Announcements will air after news bulletins. For assistance, reach us on email ecitizen@kbc.co.ke or use our social media handles, Facebook, your Facebook account, and X at your X account. Or you can call us on 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124. KBC announcements. Simple, fast, and digital. In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news, and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible
to
make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Picture this. You're looking out of your window and then you see a drone. That's not necessarily unusual nowadays, but the drone is not here to take in the scenery. This drone wants to kill you. More and more, this is what modern warfare looks like. Cyber attacks, artificial intelligence, and robots, all playing a major role on the battlefield. Technology is changing the way we fight. But what are the dangers of that? And could there be any upsides? Germany is rearming, but higher military spending isn't just a European trend. In 2024, more than $2.7 trillion were spent on militaries worldwide. That's nearly 10% more than the year before. Leading the list are the United States, China, Russia, Germany, and India. Together, they account for 60% of global military spending. But what does that mean for the rest, for the countries spending much less? For many of them, expensive tanks are being replaced by cheaper weapons, like drones. Ukraine is one of them. Just a few kilometers from the front line, Ukrainian soldiers are assembling drones and attach explosives. The parts come from factories at home and abroad. Some are even ordered via Chinese retailers like Temu or AliExpress.
Ukraine has been using unbelievably low-cost methods with great success. Their unconventional methods against the Russians, it's been remarkable.
Thanks to first-person view or FPV drones, soldiers can see the action via monitors or goggles. This allows them to approach precision targets while being well out of harm's way. This way, a drone costing just a few €100 can neutralize a tank costing millions. The idea was born out of necessity. The wide-scale use of drones in Ukraine is mainly due to a lack of artillery munitions. So for a while, drones were a substitute for shells, and that's how it was developed. Online courses can mean that anyone can learn to build drones for the Ukrainian military. The demand is huge, as many are only used once. They might be shot down or meet their end in a kamikaze-style attack. Today, Ukraine produces drones that can fly as far as 2,000 kilometers. That's all the way to Russia. Russia too is increasingly relying on drones, targeting military positions, critical infrastructure and residential buildings in Ukraine. But drones alone won't win the war. You can't take and hold territory with drones, for example. That requires boots on the ground. Basically, Ukrainian armed forces must occupy and hold territory. And that's not possible with drones and robots alone. So it's not the end for soldiers or tanks, but the battlefield has changed. AI is speeding up processes like the kill chain. Locate, attack, evaluate. The Ukrainian army excels in using drone data for tactical decisions. Many of these processes are now automated. In fact, autonomous navigation is proving far more effective. When drones are flown by humans, hit rates are typically between 10 and 20%. But with drones powered by autonomous navigation, hit rates can jump to as high as 80%. Autonomous defense systems have been around for quite some time now. They can help ward off drones, which often go unnoticed until the very last second. But this autonomy isn't exclusive to defense. Increasingly, modern weapons are making autonomous decisions on attacks.
Loitering
munitions, for example, which circle over a target area, searching for and identifying hostile objects. They then attack targets autonomously, without human intervention. That's different from a passive reaction to an approaching projectile. Loitering munitions might take the form of kamikaze drones. They circle over an area for up to 9 hours. Sensors identify potential targets, comparing them to the targets they were trained on. In the event of a good match, the drone and its explosive charge descends, crashing straight into the target. Typically, soldiers will monitor the process, keeping a human in the loop. If in doubt, they can still abort. The minimum requirement we should have is that when we use autonomy in weapon systems, and by we I mean the Bundeswehr or NATO, then we ensure meaningful human control. For example, that humans have an appropriate level of command. Armored escort vehicles can follow soldiers autonomously across rugged terrain. Vehicles like this and so-called robot dogs can be equipped and programmed for varying degrees of autonomy. But the more data is processed, the faster decisions have to be made. The more humans are sidelined. In my view, this is the trend that should be monitored. Humans are gradually being pushed out of the decision-making process. The machine makes more and more decisions, until at some point they are faced with the question, me or the machine? Thomas Küchenmeister is the German spokesman for the Campaign to Stop Killer Robots. The organization is advocating for a United Nations ban or at least regulation of autonomous weapons systems. But so far, the UN has been unable to reach a conclusion. And for many experts, the chances of countries agreeing on regulating these autonomous weapons are very slim. There are simply too many conflicts of interest. Germany, for example, has long been reluctant when it comes to autonomous weapons, citing ethical concerns. But many also argue that failing to keep up with the times, well, that could pose a risk in the future.
You see that in Ukraine. So it's a question of life. If you do not adapt at speed and at scale, then you die. And so the system we see, the new technology, is much more accurate, so much more lethal. We began the war with shelling thousands of shells a day, and today with a single drone you have the same effect and goes direct to the target. So the ability to outpace the enemy is really crucial.
You've probably heard the term hybrid warfare before. It's the combination of conventional and more covert forms of warfare. In cyberspace, for example. Attacks in cyberspace can have grave implications for the targeted population, for politics even. We took a closer look. Cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, political influence via social media, the spread of deepfakes. The war in cyberspace is in full swing, but for many, it's difficult to grasp.
There isn't really a definition for cyber war.
Essentially, it's information technology used to harm other countries, be it politically or militarily. The soldiers of cyber war are hackers working on behalf of states, companies, or secret services. The old lone wolf stereotype still lingers, but today, teams of hackers work in professional environments.
Today, the industry has been professionalized with these hacker mercenaries. That has to be noted. A lot has changed in terms of what is being paid, how many people are employed, which are the key countries. The market has grown.
The significance of cyber warfare is growing as we become more dependent on digital technology. A cyber attack on a hospital can disrupt care. Hacking a power plant's control system could cause power outages. Protecting critical infrastructure is a huge task that involves us all. So many countries are creating new units to shore up their defenses. In Germany, the Bundeswehr's 4th branch is dedicated to the realm of cyberspace. The challenge for society as a whole is that in cyberspace, we no longer see conflicts as traditional military versus military. Instead, how can we prepare society as a whole? The use of AI makes cyber defense all the more difficult. But it can also help detect phishing attacks or espionage. In conventional wars, belligerents are typically identifiable, but in cyberspace, it's a different matter.
The who did it and how do we find them is much more difficult.
Protecting civilians and critical infrastructure. The protection of cyberspace is quickly becoming a top priority for national security. Russia's war on Ukraine started with a cyber attack too, disrupting a key communications satellite. But thanks to Elon Musk's SpaceX, Ukraine was able to gain access to Starlink, the company's satellite network, within just a few days. A welcome helping hand for the country, but not without its risks. The influence of private companies in Ukraine is greater than in previous conflicts, as demonstrated by Starlink and SpaceX. Starlink supplies Ukraine with fast internet, even where communications infrastructure has been destroyed. This is crucial for drone warfare and the exchange of data. Portable terminals like this are used to connect to SpaceX's satellite network. Individual weapon systems are rarely game changers. If you put a gun to my head and asked me to name one, I'd say Starlink, because that's what makes this war so unique. The acceleration of operations through high bandwidth communication. Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, is well aware of his growing geopolitical influence. He tweeted, "My Starlink system is the backbone of the Ukrainian army. Their entire front line would collapse if I turned it off." According to an investigation by Reuters, US negotiators threatened to cut Ukraine's access to Starlink, pressuring the country into unfavorable natural resource deals. For now, Ukraine will continue to use Starlink, but for how long? After all, Elon Musk is notoriously unpredictable, and his power consolidated by the many governments that use his services, be it Starlink or its military counterpart, Starshield. In fact, Starlink is so effective and important that many governments, Washington and the Pentagon, have gone to SpaceX to request access. But the problem for many countries is, how can we solve this for ourselves? How much can we rely on the private sector? What kind of contracts are needed and what needs to be handled by the state? New technologies are often a double-edged sword, balancing progress with dependency, but keeping our autonomy while embracing AI. This ongoing debate will shape our future. Drones, killer robots, cyber warfare, they're already part of our world, impacting all of us. So we must stay engaged in the discussion and keep ourselves informed. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments and check out our other content. That's it from me. See you next time on Shift.
Welcome back to Semana Spokes, Bongana Gava.
Semana Spokes is your platform to query the government, get answers, and understand what is being done in your country and across the nation. It's your time to ask, participate, and be informed. Don't miss Bongana Gava every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1.
Kicking off the show with Nairobi Fashion Week, a platform that creativity meets heritage.
And yet, even